Hey, second base, what's up? Oh, really? The heat? Wow, I had no idea. God, that sucks. It's insanely hot. Probably more they're worried about the fans or whatever. All the way to 130, nice. What's up, Walrus? Let me switch over here. Oh, whoops. Alright. And the game's getting weird. Like, gotten getting weird. It's gotten extremely weird. Alright. Three days, right? Yes. Alright, here we go. Man, just barely got to school on time. Probably wasn't the best idea to stay up playing video games. But early in the morning on school night, I had to run in order to make it on time. I got to the classroom door, I stopped and took deep breaths to try and catch my breath. Sorry. Alright, everything's working right. I put it on 30 FPS this time because I had some issues last time in 60 FPS, and the game's only in 30 FPS. What does it matter? Couldn't act in a way. It's a freaking visual novel. I couldn't act in a way that made me stand out to my classmates. I mean, even something like that like being late would be fatal. The Dokyun's eyes all zeroed in on me, and my life would be over. Well, I made my way into the classroom, keeping my head down. Couldn't let myself make eye contact with anyone. Of course, I didn't give a mindless greeting like good morning either. Trying to make my presence as undetectable as possible, I made myself invisible, turned towards my seat. That's how I always did things. Today was no different. I made it to my seat without any issue and sat down. Soon after, I laid my head and arms face down the desk, and from there, I was safe until homeroom started. I only got to relax for a split second before someone's hand clapped against my back.
Yo, Taku! 今週は3回も学校来てんじゃねえか。真面目だな。
Oh. This is my hell week. Oh. Sumi-kun again, even though he was really getting on my nerves. I felt bad if I ignored him, so I started to reluctantly raise my head, only to hesitate. Is Sumi-kun the real one? 2 days ago, I know what the demon girl told me to and called him. When I talked to him, he was very clearly acting strange. When he told me that Rimi was our classmate as if the most obvious thing in the world. I didn't expect it at all. Maybe the demon girl had brainwashed him, or maybe it was something else. Maybe the person controlling him had been switched out.
おい、どうした？早くも爆睡モードか？
Electronic sounds suddenly rang throughout the classroom. I felt a faint vibration in my chest. My cell phone! Shit, now of all times? What kind of asshole would call at a time like this? Well, it was my phone going off, but even though I was sure I'd set to vibrate, the ringtone was going off too. I guess I must have messed up the settings.
お、鳴ってるぞ、タク。
I have to get up. Yes, I know, goddammit. Should I just answer it? I did that, Sumi-kun would know I was faking being asleep. I didn't like talking on the phone. Also, if I didn't pick up, it would annoy the rest of the class. Given how it was ringing loudly throughout the classroom, I had to be doing that already. I wasn't supposed to stand out. This was really, really bad.
おーい、出ないのか？マジで寝てる？
Damn it. I've been freaking out over what to do. I'd already lost my chance. I couldn't move now. Sound of vibration stopped. The call must have gone to voicemail. Another sigh of relief, soft enough that Sumi-kun wouldn't be able to hear it. Definitely the right call for me to have figured out how to use the voicemail function.
なあ、タク。相手は誰だ？まさか女か？この前一緒に帰ったあのメガネの子だろ。そうなんだろ？
Megane check. Glasses check. Damn it. So annoying. I wanted to stop bothering me. Phone call had already been made. Heard me stand out way too much. Sumi-kun had always been this persistent. Always been way too friendly with me. I thought he at least had the capacity to take a hint.
やめなよ。
Oh no. She's here too? What is happening? I heard a voice from right next to Sumi-kun.
そっとしておいてあげたら、大臣。
Already knows me. Has nicknames for us.
なんだか疲れてるみたいだし。
It's here in my classroom, like the most normal thing in the world.
どうせゲームのやりすぎだろ。お前、タクに甘すぎるぜ。
だって大臣は女の敵だし、そういう人には優しくしません。
Having a friendly conversation like it was the most normal thing in the world. He was blended in like it was the most normal thing in the world. I was too scared to look up. I didn't want to acknowledge that she was there.
ま、別にお前に優しくしてもらわなくても、俺には優しくしてくれる女はたくさんいるんだよ。
だから、そういう発言が良くないんだってば。彼女さんが聞いたら泣くよ。今の大臣の彼女が誰だかわかんないけど。
Alright, there we go.
ほら、チャイム鳴った。先生来るよ。
The demon girl really been my classmate all along? No, there's no way. She had been here 2 days ago. Or at the very least, the only person that had spoken to me that day was Misumi-kun. I hadn't gone to school yesterday, so I wasn't sure about that one. When I came today, she was here. How? How'd she manage to worm her way in? Everybody took their seats once the sound of the bell announced the start of the homeroom. Sensing that, I looked up cautiously. Surveyed the room with just my eyes. Wanted the voice from earlier to have been just an illusion. In order to prove that to myself, I needed to make sure the girl was nowhere to be found in the classroom. Didn't see her. I didn't see anything that even remotely resembled her. And she really was a hallucination? I see it was in the 5th row from the front. There were 9 rows total. She wasn't in any of the rows in front of me. What's up, Andy? To the back corner, I know. But she was behind me. Oh no, I'm in the 5th row, not even in the back corner. I'm in the middle. Why am I not in the back? I'm a loser. Actually, the middle's not as bad as the front. I couldn't turn around. I always have to stand out. Damn it, this is so frustrating. Was she really here in my classroom or not? I didn't feel chills in the back of my neck. No one was looking at me. Feel a gaze. Was she here or not here? Which was it? Staring to the surface of the dusk, I tried to detect her by just her presence alone. Right as I tried, I heard my homeroom teacher enter the classroom. I remember the teacher's name. I feel that it was Tsukaji or Tsukada, something like that. He was a PE teacher that graduated from an athletic college. He was a total musclehead. I didn't really act like it, nor did he employ corporal punishment like one might expect him to. He was the type of teacher that knew how to take a joke. For some reason, the class all started murmuring about something. Right now, I was occupied with trying to detect the demon girl. Did I really expect to be able to censor my presence alone? This wasn't some manga. Was I an idiot?
今日から転校生が入ることになった。
Homeroom teacher mumbled that to the class. Oh, that's why my room is so noisy.
ほら、折原、みんなに挨拶しろ。
Oh, she just transferred to our room, our class? I hear the supposed transfer student say anything. Was there really one here? I glanced towards the door. What? I'm having a delusion already. There's someone there. She was extremely petite, possibly even more so than Nanami. Looked fairly timid. I mean that Moe gets bullied all the time archetype. If I had to choose, she was probably around mid-tier when it came to 3D girls. For some reason she was looking down at the floor, her eyes filled with tears. Uh-oh. Shouldn't have done that. It'd be nice if the transfer student were some holy messenger sent her to protect me and slay the demon. Whoever Rimi was, I had no doubt she was dangerous. My life was being eroded. I knew that for a fact. Unless things change, I'd be a dead man walking. Oh. Suddenly, the transfer student turned her gaze toward me and whispered that. No way.
たくみくん、私はここに殺すために来ました。悪魔を滅ぼします。
Take on the Akuma girl. And the transfer student's eyes were welling with tears. They were also filled with determination. Despite her timid appearance, I felt like I could trust her. No doubt that from an outsider's perspective, her words were blatantly nonsensical. I was the only person in the sea of confused people who weren't perplexed by her first words. In fact, I was screaming for joy internally, of course. I'm saved! No doubt, an exorcist organization sent the scroll to dispose of Rimi. Fuck yeah, kill that bitch.
たく、騙されないで。
Uh-oh. Rimi's panicked voice rang from behind me.
その転校生の狙いは私じゃない。タクだよ。その子の言うことを聞いちゃダメ。
Uh-oh.
悪魔さん、惑わすのはやめなさい。あなたはここで終わりです。
Said it very politely. Owari.
悪魔はあなたでしょ。
うるさいな。
Shut up. And now I didn't care who the real demon was, or who my real ally was.
僕はブラチューと演奏して毎日を平穏に過ごせればそれでいいんだ。お前たちがどうなろうか知ったことじゃない。
I didn't quite hear how he said ESO. I pronounced it. I wanted to hear him say it. Can I repeat that line?
とりあえず2人で殺し合ってくれると助かる。で、相打ちで2人とも死亡ってエンディングを希望。
Oh. Samurais hitting each other at the same time and dying. I can play that.
僕はブラチューと演奏をして毎日を平穏に過ごせればそれでいいんだ。お前たちがどうなろうか知ったことじゃない。
Say eso?
僕はブラチューと演奏をして毎日を平穏に過ごせればそれでいいんだ。お前たちがどうなろうか知ったことじゃない。
ESO or SO? Damn it. Learn nothing. Following those words, I could feel it. Is it like all those scrolls online? It is some MMORPG, it could be. It doesn't sound like it from the way he describes it. See Rindred and Andy. Following those words, I could feel it rising at knees spread throughout the room. A transfer student whose name I didn't know, and a demon girl who had only been in this class since the day before yesterday. Each glaring daggers at each other from their own separate corners of the room, between them burning like a fuse, trailing towards a pack of TNT. Homeroom teacher and the rest of the students led to their seats, watching intently as the events unfolded.
いいよ。タクの言う通りにしてあげる。
Uh-oh.
私も異論はないです。殺してあげろ。暗殺者。
Assassin.
あなたを殺します。悪魔さん。
Akuma-san. That was them fighting. And they all sprang into action. Man. Of course, something like that would never actually happen. The student remained as sheepish as ever, not uttering so much as a peep. And we also didn't say a word. In fact, she didn't give any. She's here? Scattered whispers grew into murmurs as the transfer student maintained her silence. In order to comfort her, the teacher placed his hand on her shoulder.
ああ、どうやら折原は緊張しているようだな。よし、挨拶はいい。みんな、この子は折原梢だ。仲良くしてやってくれ。折原、席は一番後ろだ。席についていいぞ。
Transfer student made her way to the back without saying a word, keeping her head low to the ground. She was 4 rows behind mine. Should I pretend to watch her so I can catch a glimpse of the people behind me? Problem was, I draw a lot of unwanted attention to myself. I want to Dokyo and try to pick a fight. I'll go, don't start staring at her just because she's cute or some BS like that. I was at a loss for what to do. So should I look now or should I wait till the class is over? Head still firmly pressed against my desk, I squeezed my fist tightly. Forget it. I'm just a coward. Just thought that if I turned around, my eyes would meet that girl's. She sent shivers down my spine.
その人って
That. Huh?
悪い人なの？だったらね、本当に殺してあげてもいいよ。
Huh? First student walked right by my seat, taking a back glance at her face. Was that her? Her eyes met only for her to immediately. Or was that my doll talking to me again? Only for her to immediately avert her gaze and continue walking. What was that voice? It might have just been another one of my delusions. I'm feeling overwhelmed by them lately, as if reality and delusion were blending together. Oh no. Still lacking the courage to turn around, my body stiffened even further, squeezing inward in my seat. I tried to focus on staying completely still, desperately trying to avoid drawing Rimi's attention. My new fears and doubts zoomed through my mind at 1,000,000 kilometers an hour. Mort, homeroom ended. First period to begin in about 5 minutes. Homeroom's different from first period. Misumi-kun rushed over to the transfer student's desk, knowing him was gonna lay the moves on her. The other students were clearly interested in her too. The room had grown louder than usual. At a glance, it may have seemed like a casual, peaceful, ordinary thing. To me, it was like being caught deep within enemy territory. My heartbeat was going crazy. Anxiety filled my head to bursting, and so much as lifting a finger felt more than a one-man job. My brain was in the midst of a civil war. One side urging me to turn around, the other side warning me not to.
タク、
Uh-oh. Breath caught in my throat. My mind went completely blank. A voice came from directly behind me. She really was here. The girl was really here after all.
具合悪そうだけど、
Uh-oh.
平気？
Genki? I needed to run away as fast as I could. I thought my legs were shaking so violently that I didn't think I could even stand. I was frozen solid. The demon girl, Sakiata Rimi, knuckled around in front of my seat.
汗びっしょり。風邪でもひいたん
Kinda
じゃ
see her
ない？
there. Sorry about that, I'll be right back. Alright, need to open some windows. What's up, Don Carlos?
なんて
何？
Couldn't look her in the eye. From how she spoke, I could tell she had a smile on her face.
ねえねえ、さっき何話してたの？
Who? Amy crouched down, resting her chin on her hands. Not eye level with me, she peered on my face. I quickly looked away. It felt like the anxiety would tear my heart right open at any moment. Damn it, why wouldn't you just let me go? Someone please help me.
すっごく気になる。
What was she talking about? Who was she asking me about?
転校生。
What?
あの子がタクの机の横を通るときに小声でさ、ボソボソーっと。
Well, that was her talking.
もしかして
I was
あの
tripping
子と
out.
知り合い？
I was still smiling. It was just me? Was her tone more of a probing one than an actual curious one?
タクってリアルの女の子に興味ないんじゃなかったっけ？
Like 3D girls. Call them 3D girls. So they're not the real girls, it sounds really lame.
もしかして本当は興味あるの？
Where's she going with this? Was her plan to probe me for personal information and exploit it for her own gain? At the end of the day, I really didn't give a damn about 3D girls. It's like I always said, that sour voice of
じゃ
mine.
あさ、私にも実は興味あったりする？
What the hell? I see chill run down my back. And having just wiped the sweat off my forehead, I could feel moisture all over it. Is that a threat? She was inviting me to become her ally. Maybe she didn't seduce me, acting all moish. She could lure me into a trap. Those alarm bells are going off in my head. I can't be talking to the demon girl anymore. If I had to sign my own death warrant.
タク？
My breaking point, and I panic, I sit up and dash for the exit, knocking into several desks on my way out. Suddenly takes off in the middle of class. She had the stairs without looking at anyone. Came out on the empty roof. Seemed like she chased me. So I couldn't allow myself to relax just yet, so I hugged my knees and decided to hide for a little while in the shadows. My knees were trembling. I believed that I'd managed to run in this condition. I guess it just showed how desperate I was. I was tired of this reality. The D sword I've gone out of my way to buy hadn't even been useful in the slightest. I wasn't going to bring it to school without much stand out either. I've been careless. 2 days ago, Misumi-kun told me that Rimi was our classmate. I figured he was either spewing some bullshit or just outright deluding himself. She really was my classmate. At the very least, she'd become one. There's no point in trying to figure out how she managed to worm her way in. She's a demon. She can do things that humans are incapable of with ease. She brainwashed my whole class. Maybe she'd brainwashed all the teachers instead. I couldn't go to the hospital anymore. I couldn't go to school either. Meanwhile, Yu was at Ad Cafe, and Shogun had always appeared online. The demon girl and underlings were no doubt getting closer and closer to me, continually hitting me with psychological attack after psychological attack as they did it. I shouldn't leave my base at all anymore. Our enemy is endangered at every turn in reality. It disturbed me and threatened my peace, even though all I wanted to do was live a quiet life, bothering nobody and being bothered by nobody. Looking up at the blue sky, it floated calmly above me. As the wind blew white clouds across its breath. Nice it could be if I could become one of those clouds. What? Tripping out. Takumi's tripping out. Around 3 hours had passed. Stayed in the same place the entire time without moving. Sense anyone else coming up at the moment. Finally breathe. Problem, however, was what came after. Breaks, there would always be students that come up here to eat lunch. Well, the best way out of this was to escape during 4th period and make a break from my base. Mess up my minimum attendance chart. I didn't even possess a single ounce of courage that'd allow me to return to the classroom where the demon girl was. I said not to worry about the fact that I'd left my bag in the classroom. All I had in there was textbooks, my wallet, my keys, and anything else important would be in my uniform pockets, I hoped. I was suddenly nervous, I searched my pockets. Wallet, keys, cell phone, they were all there. And I remembered that someone had called me. Pretty freaked out at the time, but not as much as when Rimi had talked to me.
一体誰だ
Think of anyone who'd call besides my family. Make the most sense if it was Nanami. Never thought about whether she'd be bothering me after all. The only people who knew about this number would be... Oh wait, that's right. I gave them to those detectives. One of them I really should have picked up. So I'd sent the officers to my base like they said they would. I really needed to talk to them to make sure that was still happening. Father's phone number was displayed on the screen. It seemed to be Nanami's, and when I looked closer I saw that I had a new voicemail. Vague feeling that I'd seen this number before, just in case. Check the call history. What? 5 calls on the list. Why do I have a delusion all the time in this game? Which means since I bought this up, I alerts received 5 calls. 3 of them from Nanami. Left 2 others. Further day, the one from 5 days ago were shown as numbers instead of names. I've been registered in my address book. Both from the same number. 037X 03X733X9191 or 991. Certainly they'd gone out of their way to leave a message. Probably someone really wanted to tell me something. But I have to have a delusion about it. Not gonna help things. So go ahead and listen to it.
あのさ、私だけど、別にあんたの声が聞きたいから電話したわけじゃないんだからね。なんとなく暇だったからとかその程度の理由だから、分かった？でもクラスが別になって最近話す機会が少なくなったね。あんた、私のことどう思ってるわけ？例えばさ、私に告ってみようとか思わないわけ？別にあんたに告られたからって私は嬉しくもなんともないんだからね。そもそも私が OK する保証は万に一つぐらいしかないんだし。でもさ、行動しなくちゃ何も始まらないって思わない？とにかくあんたは試しに告ってみること。分かった？
What?
じゃあ今日の放課後伝説の木の下で待ってるから。急いで来なさいよ。来なかったら承知しないんだからね。
Alright, now back to reality. I mean, it could happen. I wish, though. There's no tree of legends or whatever the fuck at this school. Who is this Tsundere supposed to be, anyway? Personality settings were pretty lackluster. It at least made her more like Seiratan. Wasn't the time to be indulged in my delusions, was it? Feeling empty inside, I sighed and decided to listen to the actual voice message. Examine my surroundings, make sure the demon girl wasn't there. Put the phone up to my ear.
こちらは留守番電話サービスセンターです。
No!
新しいメッセージは
Oh,
1件
that
で
was
す。
the message.
1件目、10月17日金曜日午前
Jinyobi.
8時28分の伝言です。
なんぞこれ
Rockin' tunes. Instead of someone's voice, it was an incredibly familiar melody. It sounds being recorded from a short distance away from the phone. The person on the other end was a pedestrian, near a pedestrian signal. The song being played was one you'd hear pretty often at crosswalks. was used in order to let people with visual disabilities know it was okay to cross. The song was a nursery rhyme called You May Pass, also known as Toyanse. There was a lot of people that knew the melody. There weren't many who knew the lyrics. Well, and I was one of them, actually. I memorized them back in middle school. Then again, it was like I remember them perfectly now. The path to Tenjin Shrine. Can't skip. Scary. Cut short. What? Turn is whoa. Like an ambulance all of a sudden. Which is a bad omen. Doesn't actually mean anything, but it's something that kind of creeped me out. Loud voicemail. It's like how the traffic signal got cut off. Extremely loud noise that sounded like a buzzer exploded from the speakers. It was so ridiculously loud that I automatically shot the phone away from my ear.
なんだ
Cautiously brought the phone back to my ear. The voicemail had already stopped playing. What was that? Right at the end there, I just barely heard a roaring noise. It sounded like the ground itself was rumbling. The buzzer sound was completely separate from the pedestrian signal melody. Considering how loud it had been, the only thing I could think of was that the phone's receiver had been deliberately put up next to whatever had made that noise.
いたずら
My heart began to pound. Done something to make someone hate me enough to do that? They even called me in the first place. I called them back by dialing the number displayed on my phone, but there was no way to be able to call back a prank caller. In the end, all I could do was just leave it. Besides, I was stuck in the middle of a situation far worse than any prank call. I turned my phone in my pocket, never so carefully left the school, making sure to pay close attention to my surroundings as I escaped. Alright, it was creepy. Ijo Takumi's alma mater, Kitazawa Second Elementary School, was about a 5-minute walk from the private train station. Wait, is this not me? Ban Yasuji had attempted to contact Takumi's elementary school teacher over the phone, only told they had unfortunately passed away. Left with no other choice, Ban decided to set up a... Oh, this is the detectives now. Decided to set up a meeting to speak with the person who arrived at the phone instead, head teacher Camille. Not long after, he arrived at school together with his partner. It was a Saturday. The school gate was closed. Detectives, Ban and Suwa, stopped in front of it and turned their attention to the school building. White walls of the school's exterior had been painted with a brightly colored, eye-catching mural. Due to his complete lack of knowledge on paintings or any other kind of fine art, Ban had no idea what it signified. The way the spiral-shaped mural transitioned vertically into an array of 7 different colors reminded him of a rainbow. Ban stared at the mural, cooling himself with his handheld fan. His partner, Suwa, pushed the intercom button next to the school gate. Suddenly, Ban looked around. He had a feeling that someone was watching him. His gaze seemed to follow him everywhere, leaving him quite discomfited.
俺ってそんなにかっこいいか
What's up, Tsudo? Dealing with more, yep. Now we're seen from the detective's point of view. Him to strike a casual pose with an aim clearly to be dandy and refined.
先輩、何変なポーズしてるんすか？裏門の方に通用口があるんで、そっちに回ってくれって。
Genetic freak of sports entertainment unleashed. Ban retired from his phone with a sigh and headed to the back of the building. The staff room was easy to find. As soon as they entered through the side door, all they had to do was travel down the rear entrance hallway and turn to the single corridor to arrive at the room. There was, of course, no sign of children at the school, although it was likely a mere illusion created by the smooth linoleum floor. The two detectives felt far cooler inside the building than they had outside. There were 3 teachers in the staff room. Upon seeing the 2 detectives enter the room, one of the 3 stood up and bowed. The man who stood up was named Camillo. He was mostly white-haired, was parted to the side, and he greeted the 2 of them with a gentle smile. Ban and Suwa showed their police badges to him almost simultaneously. Turned his greeting briefly, then immediately approached the topic at hand. It was Suwa's job to ask the questions.
ここの卒業生である西条匠くんについて教えていただきたいんですが。
彼のことは印象に残っています。私は担任ではなかったから詳しくとなると無理ですが、それでも構いませんか。
I didn't teach him, so I don't know anything about him. Suenoda had taken out his notebook, prepared to write everything down.
西条くんはどんな子だったんですか？
難しい子だと聞いていました。特殊だと。
Oh my god. My guy's special?
特殊？
本来なら他の生徒に混ざって勉強するのはとても困難な、病気を患っていたらしく。
Disease that make it difficult to study with his fellow students.
具体的には？
そこまで私が言ってしまっていいのかどうか。ご家族なり医師なりに聞いていただけますか。
I don't know what disease he has. Schools have recently begun adopting this approach. Thought it would avoid any issues that may prove difficult for them. Refuse to take part in anything that would earn them complaints from parents or any other parties. Such practice has made it incredibly difficult for the police to do their jobs.
担任の先生はなんで亡くなったんです？
事故です。遠足の最中、乗っていたバスが陥没した道路に。
あ、自分それ知ってるっす。ニュースでやってたっすよね。
子供たちは怪我をしただけで、幸い命は助かったのですが、斉藤先生だけが犠牲になってしまい、なんともやりきれない思いです。
西条くんもその事故に巻き込まれた。
Runciban's question, Camille shook his head lightly.
あの子は当日欠席していて、バスには乗っていませんでした。
Maybe I booby-trapped the bus.
欠席の理由は？
病が悪化したと聞いたような覚えがありますが。
Bond had a faint recollection of the accident. Multiple days following the incident, short glimpses Bond caught of the news, you'd all see the media swarming the house of the sole boy who had not been involved in it. What's up, Versace? Yeah, some more chaos said.
あれは悲しい事故だったんですよ。
For some reason, while Camillo was reporting himself, repeating himself, he placed strong emphasis on the word accident. Right? Started talking with Grim a lot more booting up ESO lately. The poem had become almost like a ritual. Never really mattered what we talked about. Trade interesting or funny at-channel threads, go from full porny shit, back each other new comics, or talk about the anime from the day before, or other various dumb stuff. Funnily enough, we didn't actually talk about ESO very much. That's because we already talked about a lot about that while we were playing it. Sayori-tan. Get back from work. Finally. Oh, nice. Type in the chat room. A weird ass prank going on lately. Eats, please. Get that from someone I know. It's actually a fad or some shit. It's like recording of a weird sound you get in a voicemail or something. A Moe voice whispering sweet nothings? What eroga is that from? Would you rather them just do that to you in person? No one cares whose fucking eyes are those eyes. Oh no! Just saying that thing. Everyone was still saying that. Thanks to that, I still feel pretty awful pretty much immediately. My friend was talking really weird in chat to the point that it felt like he was fairly forced. He was trying way too hard to be funny by shoving those words in. But at the very least, I didn't find it funny. In fact, it felt more cringy than anything. I didn't let myself get angry with him until I got my info about the prank. I was forced to put up with it. Okay, so it's like the sounds of a wild otaku freak fapping then? Okay, that's too far. In all seriousness, you may pass. You may pass, what, like the song? The one that plays the crosswalks and shit? Yeah, that one. And while it's playing, it gets cut off halfway. It's supposed to like a buzzer-like sound. So the volume is ear-raped here. But yeah, heard of a prank like that. I think he's like floating around @channel, right? A voice, mysterious buzzer sound. No idea who sent it. The contents in settlement for some reason. So I decided to try and ask Grim if he knew about it. Just a simple prank, maybe I can just forget about it. Why was he being silent? Hello? Guy? Grim! Grim! I fall asleep like this. It's the first time it's ever happened. I actually had fallen asleep. I know I trust Grim. I know. A lot of weird stuff. They just said his eyes are those eyes and everything. Well, if he fell asleep, I'd just log off and meet up in ESO again. It wouldn't matter. So I thought that he'd be going to get up from the chair. No! He's looking at my stuff about my prank. Oh, so that's why he disappeared. No, he went... In the moment, even the Oso will inform Grim had known about the prank. That channel, nothing anywhere on the net. Personal grudge against me, whoever pulled this prank? I was so curious about the true identity of the caller, but I wasn't brave enough to call them back. Wait, that's it. Send me the phone number and have someone call it for me. Then they could take the fall. Best person for the job would be Nanami or Misumi-kun. Wait. Misumi-kun may already been brainwashed by the demon girls. That wouldn't work. As for Nanami, however, I'm sure she'd have no trouble asking for her to do it. Probably get pissed at me afterwards, but who gives a shit? Hell, if anything, it'd be good for her to suffer the tortures of society once in a while. Jeez. Thank Grim for his help. I said I'd meet back up with him on ESO in a few hours and close the chat. As I did so, I felt my stomach growl. Man, was I hungry. Have a cup of ramen stocked anywhere? Tried looking around for a bit, but couldn't find any. Reluctantly, I decided to head to the convenience store to buy some. The sun was already setting. I avoided going out late at night as much as possible. Every time I did, recently nothing good ever came of it. I consciously started walking faster, hurrying down the road towards the convenience store. Today was a Saturday. Whoa. I expected to run across a ton of pedestrians, but I hadn't encountered a single one so far. All the stores that should have been open were closed, which kind of weirded me out. I was just confused. I thought it was 7 p.m. It was actually 2 a.m. Yeah, like that happened. Time is it? So it was way too quiet. I could barely hear any of the sounds of the normal city noises you'd expect. The horror of the city was giving off was different than usual. After the Shinsen Station convenience store, right in front of the train station, there wasn't a single person here either. I get more and more freaked out. Sudden disappearance was something I'd taken for granted was enough to make me feel like I'd been transported to a completely different world. Normal day, I would always avoid running into or talking to other people. All I wanted right now was to see just another person's face. Person inside the convenience store. There has to be someone working there, I thought to myself as I looked around the store. What? Come out. No one here. What's on, Pink Spike? No customers? No any employees?
まさか。
Make this next. Couldn't be happening. Employee had to be in the back. Just to bring something up to the register, they'd come right out. I decided to leisurely grab a box lunch. I to flip through a manga magazine while I was at it. Came up to the counter and set the box down. One came out. For some reason, I had a bad feeling about this. This wasn't normal. Somehow I'd managed to stumble into something completely unreal. Standing in front of the counter, I just looked outside the store. Beyond the automatic glass doors was a street. Not a single person was walking. And I saw a silhouette hiding in the shadows of the apartment complex across the street.
Huh?
Form hid itself right after I saw it. I'd already seen it, clearly. The silhouette's hand was an object that resembled a long black cylinder. Was that a sniper rifle? That mean that the silhouette was a member of the riot police? Or maybe the SAT? That was when I couldn't see the... Well, that was why I couldn't see any customers or employees. At least it blocked off the area. Why the hell would they do that? Thought that, I started freaking out. I looked around the store. I ducked behind a shelf. Could this be... Is there a police standoff happening right now at this very store? The criminal who had taken the store employee hostage might be barricading himself in the back. The criminal might be the new gen culprit. Oh shit. Tried it on all sides. Oh god. I sank down to the floor and cradled my head in my hands. Why did I let myself go somewhere so dangerous? Wait, this is my fault? These were the police. They were blocking off the area. They should have stopped me before I went to the convenience store. It was their fault. Is there any way I could escape? If I stayed here, they'd take me hostage too. Fortunately, I hadn't run into the culprit yet. If he was hiding in the back room, I should get out while I still can. I was so scared my knees felt like they were about to give out. It was extremely difficult to stay upright. Even so, I kept myself low to the ground and slowly shuffled towards the automatic doors. What? I began with a shout so cliche, you wouldn't even hear it on modern-day detective shows. And outside the store, a policeman started shouting through a megaphone. It bothered me so bad I hid back behind the shelf again. Where are the hostages? An incredibly stereotypical way to call out for them. They have a neighbor. Didn't they have a negotiator or something? 30 seconds. That's practically nothing. What? They wanted to come in by force? Or were they trying to put the hostages in danger? In modern day Japan, the public and mass media would eat you alive. What the hell were the police thinking? I crouched on the floor, held my breath. My heart was pounding insanely fast. My chest was about to burst. Police were going to force their way into the store. The whole place would become a war zone. I'd be caught right in the crossfire, whether I wanted to or not. I'd get by a stray bullet and die right there. Please no. See what the criminal was doing. The entire store was still silent. Getting angry. What the hell is the criminal doing? Hurry up and surrender already. Otherwise I get caught up in this too. Gingerly peeked out from behind the shelf and looked outside once more. I saw shocked me to my core. Several SAT snipers in plain view of me, all of which were training their sniper rifles right at the store. Eventually jerked my head back behind cover. Police were going to shoot the criminal to death. Really get away with something like that in Japan? I couldn't believe it. 10 seconds. Would be happy to give me a break. My hands darted around the room restlessly until suddenly they settled on my hand. For some reason, in my hand was a knife. The blade was soaked in red. It was blood. Oh my god. No! No! I'm the killer. I was confused. How long I had this knife? Where'd I even get it? I heard someone groaning close by. An employee was lying on the floor. Really looking guy. Looked like a college student. His hands were tied behind his back and his mouth was covered with duct tape. Looking at me. His eyes were stricken with fear. Why are you looking at me? Don't look at me like that. You look at me like I'm a criminal. Wait a minute. Was that the criminal? No, it wasn't me. I hadn't done anything. Oh no. Water, water. Wasn't happening. Wasn't happening. No. This wasn't happening. Kind of Twilight Zone shit there. Never do that. Come on, fire? Really? Wasn't like a standoff, was a battle straight out of the Sengoku period or something. Several minutes had passed while I was having my delusion. Still no sign of any employees. The cashier was just taking a nap, so I waited for another 5 minutes. Waited, no employee showed up, nor did any customers into the store. There's a sound. Enough time had passed, I started feeling scared, so I put the box lunch back on the shelf and I left the store. What's up, Mr. Rip? I have to go to the railroad crossing located right next to the station. From there, I'll go to see the Shinzen Station platform. Boy, the place like that would be deserted, right? But I hope, but one there. Waited for a train to come. Once it happened, there'd be a bunch of passengers that would get off. And if no one got off, I'd definitely see people riding the train as it passed in front of me. Uh-oh. The one's gone. After 10 minutes, the train still hadn't come. Not a big deal in America, but in Japan, there's a huge, the cars that come every way more than 10 minutes. I try to get way more often than every 10 minutes. Trying to convince myself that there's must be an accident or something that messed with the schedule. There's no sign of any passengers on the platform. Then I finally realized the gravity of the situation. This was weird. This is really, really weird. I'll go to Shibuya Station. That's had people there. No doubt about it. There's people in front of Shibuya Station 24/7 without fail. Broke into Rome without thinking. Oh. As hard as I could. Didn't want to stop eating if I was out of breath. Probably the first time in my life I'd ever run so hard. I ran. I hoped that this was just some sick dream I was having. I knew it wasn't. My heart and lungs felt as if they were about to explode. Pain was far beyond anything you could feel in a dream. Surprised me how unbelievably fast I was breathing. Yet, no matter how much I inhaled, the pain refused to go away. Kept running down Dogonzaka. Finally saw 107. By the time I did, my legs were already shaking. My body felt extremely heavy. So I forced my feet to keep moving. No longer had it in me to pay attention to my surroundings. Entirety of my consciousness was focused on Scramble Crossing, symbol of Shibuya. It's there. Just a little bit further, the second I passed 107, it would be right there. Largest in Japan. It was a place where the largest numbers of people in Japan came together all at once. That was why I had to get to scramble. When did exactly everybody disappear? What was it? Empty. That was the Shibuya Station. See from the Y junction right in front of 107. A world without sound, a world that felt dead. Which had always been flooded with overwhelming sound, now ruled by silence. There was a sound of my own heavy breathing. Somebody is in the middle of the large street. And walk another step. Shock had stolen every last ounce of strength from my body.
渋谷だろ。
No one to my left, to my right, in front of me, behind me. No one anywhere, even though 7 p.m. on a Saturday night when Shibuya should have been the most crowded. Alright, Mr. Have a good one, dude. Yeah, have fun at the show. What was going on? This wasn't happening. This couldn't be happening. I closed my eyes and cradled my head. This was a dream, an illusion. This couldn't be reality. Yes, it was true that I wanted to live a quiet and peaceful life all by myself. But anyone would interfere with me. I didn't want to get anyone to get involved with anything. That didn't mean I wanted to live in a world where no one existed. No one else existed who would pay for my living expenses. No one else existed who would make the box lunches for me to eat. No one else existed who would play ESO with me. No one else existed. Oh boy. A sound. Oh, nice. I heard a sound. It hadn't come from me. It had come from someone else. Someone was here. Someone other than me was nearby. I felt like I had been saved. Thought it was just a coincidence. It only appeared like there was no one here. Truth, no one had disappeared. I was the only one left in the world. So relieved that I almost started crying. Turned my gaze towards the sound.
君は
Nice. You're a boy in a wheelchair. Short distance away from me, though still in the middle of the intersection, he sat quietly in place. I might figure out how old he was. I had to guess from the size alone. He was like he was in elementary school. Wearing his hat, so low that I couldn't see the expression very well. But,
やっと会えたね。
oh no. I heard the boy's voice extremely clearly. It feels like he was whispering directly into my ear, which made me turn around. Of course, there was no one there.
これどうなってるんですか？
Didn't the head kid, the psychic kid, whatever, in Kira, he was younger than me, ended up speaking formally to him.
どうして誰もいないのか？君は理由を知ってますか？知ってるよ。
But how young his voice sounded, there was nothing childish about it.
それより僕のメッセージは受け取ってくれた？
It's his message? You have this deafening sound at the end. I had no idea what he was talking about.
誰だ？君は。
The boy moved his wheelchair forward slightly. The wheelchair was old and made a rusty sound as it came closer to me.
その目誰の目？
No!
でしょ？
I was confused. He remembered whose eyes are those eyes just now. Who was he?
目覚めるんだ。早く。出ないと、もっとたくさんの人が死んじゃうことになるから。君は一体。
Am I killing them? Rubbed my eyes to wipe away the tears. Because of that, I was finally able to get a clear look at the boy's face. No! Boy wasn't a boy. His skin was covered with wrinkles like an old man. Cheeks were hollow. His eye sockets had sunk into an abnormal extent. Pupils were cloudy, and he had no eyebrows. His body was as small as a child's.
僕は将軍だよ。
What? Shogun's supposed to, is that me? No! 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 What happened? What? I forgot how to breathe. It felt like it was struck by a hammer. The ground was shaking violently. Body was falling over. Put my hand on the asphalt to keep myself upright. What did he just said? Shogun. Shogun?
忘れないで。君は
This
逃げ
noise.
ちゃいけない。
My head and watched the Shogun. But I turned his back to me. Thieves scrambled crossing. The wheelchair was getting farther and farther away, making a creaking sound as it moved. Thought of chasing after him and pressing him for answers didn't even cross my mind. Didn't even think of running up and punching him in the face or dragging me into this either. I was even remotely a confrontational person. My head started to hurt. The hair around my temples throbbed with pain. Still covered in the spot, I tried to endure it.
たく、
And without sound, discordant noise began to spread, an all-encompassing static. Whose voice was that? Don't look at me. Who's this? Previously been just a random discordant mess of garbled static, gradually turned into a real voice. Someone gently placed a hand on my shoulder.
邪魔なんだっつうの。
何してんだろうね。
最近の若いもんは。
なんかのパフォーマンスじゃないの？
たく、
Standing trying to endure the pain of my headache, I looked up. Demon girl, Rimi, was peering at my face as she stood over me. Eyes that were clear, full of life, eyes that looked at me and only me. Again, this girl had appeared out of nowhere once again.
歩ける？歩いて。
Wrapped her hand under my arm and tried to make me stand up. Shrieked and shook her off. Came to my senses, looked around. Still in the middle of the street, but it wasn't deserted anymore. people around me in every direction, every which way, without paying me any mind.
タク、
Me with a face that looked like she was about to cry, reached out to me once more.
今は私の言うことを聞いて。
夜だ
Scream, the throbbing of my head transformed into an intense stabbing pain. Even so, I ignored it, scrambling back on all fours to try to get away from Remy.
お前だろお前が見せたんだお前の妄想だ
Oh,
僕の心を支配して精神攻撃をこの悪魔めお
Akuma,
前なんて剣で殺してやる
where's my sword?
ベースに帰れば僕には理想
Abrupt impact ran through my cheek. Stung with pain, it began to heat up. She slapped me. Ah! She's gonna kill me once and for all. Go right back on all fours. I tried as I could save my life. Remy quickly grabbed my hand. The strength I never thought a girl could have. she pulled me toward us. It's so funny. Can I isolate that? Embrace me. Soft form gently enveloped my own. What is going on? The storm, I could smell a tiny hint of sweat. Silky hair tickled the top of my
しっ
nose.
かりして。
I'm tripping out too hard, I guess. There's an anticlimax. My whole body felt like it was about to give out.
ここにいたら危ないよ。
Voice was slightly shaky. I couldn't tell if she was crying or not.
信号赤になっちゃってるから。
What? So confused. She not going to kill me? Why is she helping me? The hallucination from before where all the people of Shibuya disappeared wasn't something she'd forced me to see? I felt such a kind, gentle warmth, and she'd embraced me so innocently. Took everything I had believed in up to that point. Maybe that Rimi Sakihara wasn't actually a demon at all? I was to believe that. Or she was just a cunning way to deceive me. Regardless, one thing was for sure. Rimi hugging me, it felt like an incredible sense of relief. No idea what to call such a strange sensation. Upon letting go of me, Rimi put my face between her hands and stared at me once again. Her eyes were slightly red.
お願い。今は私についてきて
Hmm?
いい？
Where are we going? For some reason I nodded. We were standing so alone in the middle of the empty intersection. A number of people on the sidewalk waiting for the pedestrian signal to change were watching us closely. There were people laughing here and there. Many cars had their headlights trained on us and turned to honk their horns. And we grabbed my hand tightly and started running towards the sidewalk. She pulled me along with her and I followed. Get out of the way. Countless horns blaring at us, we made it to the sidewalk. We breathed a sigh of relief and stopped. Still in hers. Just being held this way made my heart feel more and more at ease. I want to submit myself to this feeling. I want to stay like this forever. I turned back in my direction.
無事でよかったね。
Smiled with an incredibly happy smile. I don't know whether it was real or an act, or what exactly it was. But
話してよ
been so hostile to her until now. Thought of her as a demon until now. Now that it win me over like this, I felt like I'd cease being myself.
あ、ごめんごめん。
Quickly let go of my hand.
それにしてもびっくりした。タクが道の真ん中でうずくまってるんだもん。信号が赤になった時はどうなることかと。
Turned my back to Remy, she started talking cheerfully. Walked off, pushing my way through the crowd of people.
僕帰る
あ、じゃあ送るよ。具合悪いんでしょ？
Hmm? Voice chasing me from behind, but I shook my head in refusal.
タク。
Cheerfulness from before had vanished from her voice. Terrible, considering how much she had done to help me. Why?
ありがとう
Barely just managed to squeeze out those words. Oh. The delusion. I think that the 3 investigative divisions would actually be merged into one. Starting with the detective division to the Shibuya Police Department's conference room, Ani Suji thought that to himself. Man. Kashira lined Shibuya Station public bathroom homicide case, or as the media called it to amuse themselves, the vampire case. It caused an increasingly serious drop in manpower. 3 brutal murders occurred within the same jurisdiction within the same period of time. The possibility of a single perpetrator became more and more evident. The suggestion had been raised that the Cornelius Tower mass suicide case be handled by a juvenile division. Since the media had treated it as part of the new gen, the possibility that if the police treated the new case differently, they should be subject to criticism. Therefore, it was only natural that the central office had chosen the only remaining option to merge several investigation headquarters. With this interrogation now in place, the group was reviewing the series of new gen cases one by one. The projection screen at the front of the conference room displayed a series of photographs, the crime scene one after the other. Suo had been chosen to hold the presentation. He had stayed up all last night going over the documents endlessly. Good work, Ben muttered internally, chin resting in his hands.
コーネリアスタワー集団投身自殺事件の発生は9月7日っす。です。ニュージェネとマスコミが呼称している4つの事件の中では一番最初に発生してます。
The original New Gen.
午後11時半ごろ、渋谷コーネリアスタワー屋上のヘリポートから男女5人が転落、全員死亡しました。5人は全員未成年の高校生、男が3人、女が2人。ただし5人のうち男女1人ずつだけが同じ学校なだけで、それ以外の3人はいずれも別の学校でした。5人それぞれの爪の間にわずかな肉片が残っており、手のひらに引っかき傷があったことが司法解剖で判明しました。そこから5人は互いに手をつないだ状態で転落したと推測されます。屋上には遺書らしきものはなし。被害者5人は学校帰りに待ち合わせてコーネリアスタワーへ向かったようです。なお事件性があることを示す根拠としては、コーネリアスタワー屋上が関係者以外立ち入り禁止であったことが挙げられます。事件があった時間、屋上への扉は施錠されており、その扉のドアノブに被害者5人の指紋は付着してませんでした。また5人の遺品からも扉の鍵は見つかっていません。このことから被害者以外の第三者が事件前後にその現場にいた可能性があります。その第三者が扉の鍵を持っており、事件前あるいは事件後に鍵を閉めて立ち去ったという線で捜査を続けてます。コーネリアスタワーのホテル従業員全員への聞き取り調査は終了。ほぼ全員にアリバイがありました。今はタワーに入っている企業の社員に話を聞いているところです。
The five of them flew to the helicopter pad.
被害者たち5人には今のところ自殺する理由は見つかっていません。家族、友人、学校の教師など5人中4人の関係者が口を揃えて自殺する理由などないと断言してます。
Oh, I gotta move my text thing, sorry. My camera. Damn it. Always the issue with this game. The other thing. Subtitles are different places. Fetus homicide case.
続いて通称妊娠男事件についてですが、
The man-child case.
事件発生は9月19日、通称集団ダイブ事件から12日後。第一発見者は現場近くのカラオケ店店員。遺体発見は午前5時前後。被害者は渋谷区在住の大学3年生、近衛千鶴夫21歳。
Awfully young to have a baby. Okay. Third year college student.
発見された時にはすでに死亡してました。死亡推定時刻は遺体発見の約4時間前、 19日の午前1時頃です。遺体は腹部が不自然に大きく膨れ上がっており、中から胎児が発見されました。司法解剖の結果、被害者は生きたまま腹部を何者かに切開され、胃の中に胎児を入れられたようです。
The hell?
胎児はすでにその時点で亡くなっていたと思われます。
Oh, it was already dead. They put a dead fetus inside of him.
被害者が死亡したのは腹部を縫合された後、
Oh, he was alive for a while with the dead fetus in him. Wow.
縫合糸を一部引きちぎった形跡が見られました。
He's trying to pull the dead baby out of him. Wow, this is great.
胎児は妊娠8ヶ月ぐらいの状態で、母親の体から帝王切開で取り上げられたと考えられます。
His happy music.
胎児の母親については今のところ見つかってません。その生死についても不明です。DNA 鑑定の結果、胎児と被害者には血縁関係はありませんでした。ちなみに胎児の血液型は B 型、被害者の血液型は A 型です。
So he took a breath. He seemed exhausted from all the talking. Furthermore, it must have been awfully horrific crime details, yeah. And happy music. Well, he's been awfully nervous giving a presentation from so many senior detectives.
次に第3の事件、丸山町貼り付け殺人事件で
Oh,
す。
it's where I get involved, or where Takumi gets involved. A short delay, the next slide displayed a photo of the crime scene.
これが現場写真です。
There were more crosses.
事件発生は9月29日。被害者は太田久志56歳、都東大学教授。第一発見者は現場のすぐ近くのアパートに住む男性。被害者の死因は絞殺でした。殺害された後で10本程度の釘を使って貼り付けにされていました。見ての通り、遺体には外傷はほとんどありません。釘についても貼り付けは一部肉体を貫通しているものもありましたが、基本的には衣服を通して貼り付けられている状態です。マスコミでは貼り付け、血の惨劇などと謳われてますが、
Crucifixion,
出
bloody
血
rare
は
steak.
全くなし。
No bleeding.
釘はドイツのクロイツナーゲル社が販売している特徴的な長い十字架のような杭です。
Kreuznagel. Sold by a German company.
犯人が十字架型をあえて選んだということか
No
ら、
Kreuz is
宗
cross.
教
I
的
don't know
な
what
側面
knuckle
から
is.
も捜査を進めてます。
It's a religious. This could have been a religious crime.
事件の起きた21時から21時半の間に、現場周辺で壁に杭を打ちつける音が数十分続いていたという証言が複数得られました。被害者の死亡推定時刻がほぼそれと同じ時間であることから、おそらく被害者は現場かそのすぐ近くで殺害されたと思われます。また信憑性は怪しいですが、事件現場で私立水明学園の女生徒を見たという証言も上がってます。
Oh, ran away or something.
最後に
No.
井の頭線渋谷駅トイレ殺人事件、通称ヴァンパイア事件です。
Vampire case.
事件発生は10月10日。遺体発見は午前
It
5
was
時半
scary,
頃、
this game.
駅
What's
員
up,
が発見し
Russell
ました。
Oh yeah, and Andy. See you too. I went here before. Wait, I can't see. You were here before. I'll say. It's good to see you too. Yeah. This is the most recent crime case. The whose eyes are those eyes thing that everybody says. Except when Takumi was at the third crime scene, someone told it to him. So every time people say it to him, it freaks him out.
被害者の身元は今のところ不明。身元を示すような遺留品は一切ありませんでした。死亡推定時刻は前日の午前10時から午後6時の間。 遺体の血液は全て抜かれており、まるでミイラのような状態で放置されていました。
All the blood drained from the body.
ご存知の通り、この写真が何者かによって撮影され、遺体発見より15分ほど前にインターネットのオークションに出品されており、
Oh. And the auction was listed by a guy named Vamp Buyer. After listening to the Suez explanation, Bond gave a light click of his tongue. Like death is what's in these days. Another chapter of the game. Chapter 4, the D Sword. Sign City was a pair of buildings located just south of Shibuya Scramble Crossing. Small plaza rested in front of the entrance to the east building. It was not as nearly as big as the ones in front of Hachiko, the Moai statue, or other popular destinations. It still found itself used quite often as a meeting place. Even now, around a dozen people were staring at their cell phones, waiting for their engagements to begin. Among those few, only one girl who wore an oddly stern expression on her face as she idled, a high school student known as Aoi Sena, or Sena Aoi. She was standing next to an escalator leading down from the Inokashira Line station. Leaned her back against a nearby white pillar, she thoroughly scanned the environment with her gaze. In contrast to both the sharpness of her gaze and the season, nibbling on a popsicle, which made her appear incredibly charming to the casual observer. In truth, the girl was not waiting for anyone, but instead quietly observing the passers-by. Where she was standing, she could see all the way to the Jumbotron located at Scramble Crossing. A music video from a famous singer was being displayed on it, and on the lower portion of the screen a news ticker was reporting the latest information on the recent string of incidents, locally referred to as New Gen. Not a day went by without New Gen related news. It was everywhere. TV, newspapers, the internet, weekly magazines, Jumbotron, electronic billboards, everywhere. While Sen had absolutely no interest in the phenomenon, she'd often overhear people speaking about it as she passed by them on the streets of Shibuya. Whose eyes are those eyes? Over the past few days, she'd begun to see several people wearing t-shirts with those words emblazoned on them. In Shibuya, the phrase has become popular as an obscure meme. It's now starting to really take off. Despite the brutal scene that words originated from, people happily walked on down the streets raving about how well the shirts were selling at souvenir shops in Harajuku. Clear indication of how disinterested people were in anything other than themselves. Senna snorted quietly in a contemptuous display, finished the last bite of her popsicle, and closed her eyes softly without losing her certain expression. Listened carefully to the noise of the city. Abundance of different sounds billowed in front of the station on the Sunday afternoon. Roar of the trains arriving at the platform, the blaring horns of taxis, people walking and talking, the background music from the Jumbotrons, and inside the Sign City stores, the announcements telling people how to safely ride the escalators. Sounds were never allowed to end. When one sound finished, another one would appear, creating a multi-layered discord that rang throughout the station. In the midst of all the discordant noise, Senna focused her attention on only on the people's voices. Her mind blocked out all other sounds, and the words soon became clear.
結局全部同じ犯人なのかな。
手口が違いすぎるってわかねえバンドの歌詞と一緒らしいじゃん。ファンタズムだ。お前あのバンドこじつけてなんだよ知らないなんてさ。じゃあ CD 貸せよ。くれてるよな。ほらこれ見てくれ。この前から超ゲルのメタル結構来るじゃね。マジで来てるやつ初めて見た。でもあれじゃね。これってニュージェネの犯人に俺の顔殺してくださいってアピールしてるようなもんじゃん。俺もいよいよ全国デビューか。
最近渋谷超怖い。マジうざい。歩けねえもん。そういう
Whose head is a scary place?
キモい男とかだけ殺したら私マジで
Senna's a
応援す
scary
る。
place. You can hear everyone talking. The click of the tongue escaped from Senna's mouth. She stopped listening soon after. No value to be found in any of the noise. Just noise.
この視線の感覚。気のせいか。
As Morissette examined her surroundings. While now, she'd been feeling a repulsive sensation. Cold fingers caressing her spine. A gaze being cast upon her by an unknown entity, in which she was unable to pinpoint exactly where the source was. Senna pushed herself off the pillar where she was leaning against. Then, as if she'd remembered something, she stared down the popsicle stick in her hand.
外れか。
Gradually growing more and more discontent, she wrinkled her brow and began to walk quickly toward the station. This thing really quick.
あの空は
Inside hearing me ramble.
どうしてあんなに泣きたくなるくらい青いのかな。
Guess I wouldn't wish for it to be.
私は望んでない。
No, but I did. Me? The hell? This place is your image world, but at the same time it is mine as well.
ねえ、あの空はどこにあるの？
Wherever you wish for it to be.
望んでいいの？
Hmm? World?
朝だよー。ほら起きて。起きなさーい。
Ada-tan was calling me. Last night's episode of Blood Tune was awesome. Ada-tan played a huge part in it. Super hot kiss scene. Animation quality was practically movie tier too.
起きたらおはようのキスしてあげるからさ。
I am Ada-tan,
私何言
yeah.
ってんだろ。バカバカ。今の忘れて。
Ada-tan was calling me. Plus, she was saying such moe things I could not wake up. Tore the blanket off my body and got up from the sofa with a groan.
ちょっといつまで寝てるんさ。このボケナス。こうなったら私のサムライコンデンサでぶん殴って起こし。
Samurai condenser? When I turned off my alarm clock, the voices of Ada-tan that had been echoing throughout the room disappeared.
おはよう、セイラ。
Ada-tan alarm clock was very useful. I didn't turn it off, and the volume would slowly get louder and louder. I didn't get up, an obnoxious buzzer would ring out. I wanted it to be Ada-tan who woke me up in the morning, so I made it a point to wake up and turn it off before the buzzer. I failed to do so once or twice so far. After all, being woken up by Ada-tan was a great way to start the day. Waking up was the absolute worst. I played video games until dawn, and the couch had been extremely uncomfortable. And once I'd actually gone to sleep, once I'd actually had gone to sleep, but having her wake me up to help alleviate some of that pain. Today was a school day. I skipped a day last week, so minimum attendance chart was really starting to fall apart. The chart, I was only slated to go twice this week, but because of that deviation, I was having to go 3 times instead. I didn't want to go, but it'd be much worse if I didn't. If I missed any more days, I wouldn't be able to graduate. Then again, whether or not I graduated made no difference to me, to be honest. Just a moment ago, I'd been having a dream with Remy in it. It was a strange dream. One that felt terribly wistful, one that felt terribly lonesome, one that felt terribly sad, one that felt terribly distant. Did Remy come to school today? I've been thinking about that the day before yesterday constantly. Thinking about it so often I'd even forgotten to play ESO yesterday. In the appearance of Shogun and the illusions where every person in Shibuya disappeared, but I was barely giving either of those any thought. It had been just a delusion of mine. It had to be just a delusion of mine. There's no way Shogun could be such an old man, and the idea of people just disappearing from Shibuya or whatever is completely ridiculous. No point in worrying about it. In a horribly realistic delusion, sure. The fact that I allowed myself to fall for something so unrealistic and get so easily freaked out, oh, that was just embarrassing. But regardless, above all else, I was thinking about Remy, the girl I'd been calling the Demon Girl until only a few days ago. Most of all, I wanted what felt back then was shaky and surreal, as sort of part of some dream, but I still vividly remember the sensation of Remy's body embracing my own. If she hadn't done that, I could have gone insane and lost myself completely. Why had Remy saved me? Maybe because we really were friends. I didn't have any memories of us becoming classmates now, let alone since first year. Nor do I remember going to the movies along with her along with Misumi-kun. But the way she treated me was definitely how you treat a real close friend. She even seemed like she'd been close to crying when she held me. That, at the very least, I didn't think was an act. That was the first time I'd ever seen a girl care about, let alone cry over an otaku freak like me. When she treated me like that, all my fears and suspicions were blown away in an instant. In fact, it made me feel like I might fall in love with her. No, obviously I could also do that. Confusion invaded every corner of my mind. How was I supposed to act around Remy from now on? Was Remy an ally or an enemy? Was Remy the new gen culprit? She saved me, that was an undeniable fact. But it was just as much as the fact that I had seen her standing Could be at the site of the crucifixion, covered in blood. My school stopped by Shoto Park. What had happened with Yua put a stop to my habit of eating breakfast there before going to school. Oh no! Now Yua waits for him. No way I could feel remotely relaxed if Yua could be watching over me from anywhere. If I ignored that, she came up and talked to me, she would start going off about her irritating, delusional schizo bullshit all over and over again. What had anything to do with that girl like her? Yua was Rumi's underling. Sure, my original guess may have been incorrect. That didn't mean that Yua was my enemy. It's still possible that Shogun was the boss of the whole thing, and Yua was one of his underlings. Either way, I would be better off staying as far away from her as I could. Yet, I found myself coming here today for some reason. I examined my surroundings carefully to make sure that I couldn't see Yua anywhere. Once the coast was clear, I sat down on my usual bench. I took a bite of the chocolate bread I'd just bought from the convenience store, and looked out at the pond. There was next to no wind, and the surface of the water was calm and serene. I could see the occasional shadows of carp-esque fish gliding through the murky water. The park was unusually empty today. It was a very quiet spot. As my gaze wandered across the park, I couldn't help but think about Rimi. To be honest, I've been dreading going to school today. I knew I'd have to face her if I did. That was the reason why I was stalling at the park. I felt like I'd said a lot of awful things to her. And yet, the smile on her face never faltered, and she always treated me like I was a close friend. I was sure that, when I went to school today, she'd keep on doing that as if nothing had ever happened. She'd smile and talk to me like we were friends, pretending that she didn't even care at all about what had happened in front of 107. Hard to put into words, but I felt a bit annoyed at her constant cheerfulness. Yet at the same time, I also ended up feeling more cheerful myself when I was with her. I wasn't sure how to act once I did run into her. It's true that I didn't think she was a demon anymore, but honestly, I didn't think of her as a friend either. Sumi-kun had said that she and I had been really close classmates for the past year and a half. I don't remember anything like that at all. Maybe it really was because of the person controlling me, making my memories of Rimi, and only Rimi disappear with a pinpoint accuracy like that. There was no way that was possible. Why is there no music anymore? What happened? Okay. Upon entering the school building, I lowered my head even further towards the ground. As my usual MO, I kept close to the wall and walked slowly towards the staircase. Class was on the 3rd floor. Getting up there was a pretty big hassle. I could really use an escalator or something. Reached the foot of the staircase, I spotted a girl climbing unsteadily up the stairs. She was dragging her right leg a little as she walked. Maybe she twisted it. Her petite body swayed from side to side. She looked extremely unstable. Other students passed by on one side or the other. The girl slowly continued to climb, exactly one step at a time. Watching her from below, I was able to see her panties any second now. Shit, if I kept this up, I'd be labeled a total perv. Last thing I needed was someone to go in front of a mirror and see myself as Bill Clinton or some shit. Wait, when was this game made? I guess this one, that's a pink spike. I guess cell phones are kind of new in this game. With that in mind, I stepped on the stairs in order to pass the girl, but right when I did, the girl caught the tip of her shoe on one step and she immediately staggered. No, she then fell down so hard you could almost feel the crash sound effect. Fortunately, she ended up falling on the landing. She hadn't fallen down the entire staircase. She was down on her knees from the pain, though, but was staying pretty still. Would this be a flag? Yeah, no way. Even if it was, calling out to her or anything remotely similar would be impossible for me. So I hurriedly slipped past her. Sorry, but you should get some womanizers actually into 3D to help you. Someone like Misumi-kun. Really shouldn't rely on me. But the girl was staying curled up on the ground so motionlessly I started to get a little worried. I was halfway up the stairs when I slowly turned back around to check on her. The girl was gripping onto the railing and trying her absolute hardest to stand back up. Her knees were trembling. She looked like a newborn fawn or something. Her knee was oozing blood. Maybe she'd scraped it. Her face, I'd seen it before. Wasn't she the girl who transferred to my class last week? What was her name again? Couldn't remember. Was it Kozue? Wow, she was crying. Hurt that badly? Well, it definitely been pretty bad, but not enough that she'd cry from it. There was nobody else willing to lend her a hand. Just barely managed to stand up, she bent forward and peered down at her knee. She was checking to see if she'd hurt it. Transfer student wiped away her tears, sat down her bag on the spot, and started rummaging around inside it. What's she looking for, I wondered. Suddenly, she raised her hand above her head in a triumphant manner. Passed in her hand was a Band-Aid. Eyes met. Transfer student went red in surprise soon after, then hung her head. Regardless, she looked like she was okay. Sure, she'd be fine without me. Thinking that, I hardly made my way to my class. As per usual, I kept my head down and my gaze fixed on my toes. While still remaining silent, I took my seat. I sat down and remembered the transfer student had said something to me on the day she transferred. I'd forgotten all about that after everything with Rimi. I don't wonder what she'd meant.
Yo, Taku.
So according to routine, Musumi called out to me. Maybe didn't have any other friends besides me. They always talked to me and no one else, so I'm starting to genuinely suspect that.
聞いてくれよ。昨日さ、怪しいおっさん2人が校長室に入ってくのを見たんだ。
Oh, the detectives.
で、俺とリミトでこっそり盗み聞きしてみたらびっくりしたぜ。
And they say,
その2人、刑事だったんだぜ。
I already know that. Detectives?
なんか深刻そうに全校生徒の名簿とか見ててよ。もしかしてニュージェネと関係あんのかな。
Maybe the true Gen culprit was someone at this very school? Can't help it, but the face popped into my mind. Rimi's.
まあ、盗み聞きしてたら見事にバレちゃったんだけどね。
I jumped. Speak of the devil, Jesus Christ! Felt my heart rate leap when I heard Rimi's voice invade the conversation. Couldn't look up, I was too nervous. This is a completely different kind of nervousness than last week's.
あれはお前がドア勝手に開けたせいだぞ。分かってんのか？
しょうがないでしょ。本物の刑事さんって見るの初めてだったからちょっと興奮しちゃってつい。
何をどうやったらついドアを開けるんだよ。おかげで俺らまで刑事から話を聞かれる羽目になったんだからな。
大臣ってば刑事さんに聞かれちゃまずいことでもあったの？
そういうお前はどうなんだ？
So you're scared?
さあね。
Soon couldn't remember having a conversation with my desk sandwiched in between them. They were completely ignoring my existence. But to be honest, I was grateful for that. Even for Rimi to talk to me, I didn't have any faith that I'd be able to say anything back. Hoping the bell would ring before they got the chance to say anything to me, but when I glanced at the clock, I saw there was still about 5 minutes until class started.
そういやタク、ここに来る途中で梢ちゃん見なかったか？
It's Kozoe. Kozoe-chan who?
ああ、そっか。どうせお前のことだから覚えてねえとは思ったけど、マジでそうだったんだな。
The new petite transfer student.
先週転校してきた子のことだよ。折原梢ちゃん。
Oh, so that was her name. Kozoe Orihara.
階段で
Kaidan.
階段？
見た。
お、そっか。じゃあもうすぐ来るな。
What? I'll be right back. His voice gave off an aura of intense enthusiasm. I'd seen this energetic since a few days ago when he found out that FES was from the next class over. In other words, I'd never seen him give his all for anything except girls. Which reminded me that just last week, Musumi had already gone to hit on the transfer student the moment she'd arrived. They are incorrigible. Got a girlfriend and everything. Hope you're real proud.
なあ、梢ちゃんってマジ可愛いと思わねえ？
Must be something I had trouble answering. Put my head down ambiguously, which he barely took as a yes.
太郎！俺一目で気に入っちまったよ。なんか守ってやりたくなるんだよな。男子みんなも同じ意見だよ。どいつも可愛いって言ってんだ。けどよ、女子の間じゃあんま評判良くねえんだよな。
You know the girls don't like her?
まだ転校してきたばっかだぜ。それなのに早くもうざいみてえな意見まで出てきてんだよ。このクラスの女子って 性格悪いやつ多すぎだ。
それって大臣のせいじゃないの？
That's his fault.
だいたいそのうざいって言ったのどうせ大臣の彼女でしょ？
ああ、そうだけど。
そりゃあ彼女にしてみればうざいに決まってるよ。自分の彼氏が目の前で折原さんを口説きに行っちゃってたらさ。
Who's his girlfriend? You know who it is now?
私でさえよく喧嘩売られるんだから。大輔君に近寄らないでって。しかも一人じゃなくて何人かから言われた。
マジ？
自覚なしか。少しは反省したら？
いやー、モテる男は辛いぜ。
これだよ。さすが女の敵。もう私フォローしてあげないからね。
He's the enemy of all women.
あ、折原さん来た。
なんか怪我してるみたいじゃね？
本当だ。どうしたんだろう。
Got hurt back when I saw her on the stairs. Obviously wasn't going to tell them that, though. Trying to avoid talking to Remy in any way possible.
俺、ちょっと行ってくれ。
Sumiko ran up to where the transfer student was. Next to that, Remy was the only one left standing close to my desk. Miss Sumiko, please don't go. Remy didn't say anything. She didn't move away from my seat either. Considering the fact that I was hunched over so far on my desk that I could really sink my teeth into it, I couldn't see her expression. All I could see was her waist, but if that were true, that would mean she was facing me. In other words, she was looking at me. Because I'm Crows Neck Natural.
おはよう、崎畑さん。
おはよ
Alright, first contact went well. So when I started to feel relieved, Remy tilted her head to the side with a frown.
う。ねえタク、なんで急に妙竹林の呼び方するの？
妙竹林。
崎畑さんなんてなんだか他人行儀。今までみたいに呼んでよ。
Like I normally did, but I didn't even know what that was.
じゃあ、リミ。
Remy.
お、なんだいタク。
いや、特に何もないけど。
じゃあ私から一言。
Remy cleared her throat, looked up with her around the room, then brought her face close to mine.
タクは大臣みたいになっちゃダメだよ。ああいう女たらしはいつかひどい目に遭うに決まってるから。
I'm a playboy. What's up, Ghost Wolf?
あ、うん。肝に銘じておくよ。
タクのそういう素直なところ私好きだな。
She likes something about me, huh? In other words, from Remy's point of view, was I the honest, neutral character archetype?
そもそも私大臣のことで一つだけどうしても許せないことがあるんだよね。あれだけあちこちの女子に声かけてるのに私には全く見向きもしないってこと。ひどいと思わない？
三角くんに口説かれたいの？
Guess that wasn't surprising. He was so alpha in terms of looks. He was fun to talk to. If you stuck him with a penalty for being a playboy, he'd probably still be the type any girl would like to go out with. But despite what I thought she was talking about, Remy frowned and shook her head.
タク、冗談きついよ。大臣に口説かれるなんて想像しただけで鳥肌立っちゃう。
Wrapped her arms around herself and made a big show of pretending to shiver.
私はノーサンキュー。
No, thank you.
でもなんていうのかな、女としてのプライドっていうものがあるわけじゃない？ねえ、タクから見て私ってどう？魅力ある？
God, you're asking me something like that's real hard to answer?
どう？
didn't help that her eyes were twinkling and she was clearly bursting with anticipation. That's, of course I thought she was attractive, but it take a lot of courage to say it out loud. Ni.
Me?
Said ni.
Me.
You don't know what ni means?
認めたくないものだな。
若さゆえの過ちというものを。
引っかかった。
Remy smiled triumphantly. Is she actually an otaku? There's no way. I smiled a bitter smile in defeat. Even though the conversation was completely normal, I found myself having lots of fun. Up until now, I almost never had this kind of conversation with a girl before. I don't know why, but I felt like we clicked pretty well together. Which is why I was able to say what came next so naturally.
リミは魅力的だよ。
Remy exaggeratedly threw her head backwards and her face instantly turned bright red.
面と向かって言われると恥ずかしい。でもありがとう。タクにそう言ってもらえるとすごく嬉しい。大臣に口説かれるより1億兆倍嬉しい。
What? No! Well then you would if Ichinuke, jeez.
1億兆なんて桁はないけど。
なんとなくニュアンスで分かってよ。それだけスケールの大きい嬉しさってこと。
Oki skater. No. No, so that's what it is to be young. Well, I could have that kind of conversation daily. Every day of my life would be so much fun and fulfilling if that's how I saw the world. And how I saw the world would change completely. But at the end of the day, that was just an illusion. Me and Riyadi couldn't even make eye contact through me. Just got my head down, didn't move, and stayed silent. Smiles my own cowardice. So I was hit with a fierce wave of depression.
タク
Remy, who had been silent the entire time, finally called out to me. Albeit hesitantly. And I couldn't respond due to how silent it was. Tara probably felt like I was ignoring her. In my head, I knew I couldn't keep acting like this, but in the end, I still just couldn't get myself to do anything.
大丈夫？
This time I nodded frantically. That made me look pretty suspicious.
そう。だったらいいんだ。
Remy's voice was gentle, I could hardly believe it. It seemed like she was going to continue patiently being with me, even though I was being silent. Are you okay, was what she said? I felt the sudden urge to ask her something. I wanted to ask, back when we met in front of 107, what did it look like to you? Considering the fact that she hadn't mentioned anything in particular, like she didn't know anything about the people temporarily disappearing from the streets of Shibuya, or anything about the wheelchair-bound Shogun. Which should probably mean might have been just one of my delusions. As I wanted to ask her. I didn't think I'd be able to look up and do so after all this time. Either way, I could do it today. I can prepare myself to ask her. Next time, then. Ask her the very next time I came to school, yeah. She probably organized the questions I wanted to ask her before then.
あれ？ねえタク、折原さんがこっち来たよ。
The transfer student? Why is she coming over here? Is she gonna come down on me for not helping her on the stairs earlier? She didn't seem like the type of person to do that. Maybe she wasn't coming up to me, but she was actually wanted to ask Remy something. The hell? Transfer student came up to Remy, then stopped. Didn't say anything. What the hell? As long as Remy was here, I couldn't raise my head. Transfer student's toes were fidgeting, but she still didn't try to say anything.
折原さん、どうしたの？
For some reason, the new student timidly then placed a single bandage on the edge of my desk. It was a fancy one with a picture of that weird character, Gero Froggy, emblazoned on it. Was she giving it to me? How do I react? This Orihara Kozue girl is kind of weird. What? Was she crying? Why was she crying? Was it because I didn't say anything? The transfer student hadn't said anything to me either.
タクは怒ってるわけじゃないと思うよ。
Remy swooped in to cover for me. Come to think of it, it was a little bit odd. I didn't know next to anything about Remy, and yet she knew a lot about me.
彼ってあんまり人と目を合わせようとしないの。引っ込み思案ってやつ。 だからそんなにガチガチに緊張しなくてもね。私にも絆創膏くれるの？ありがとう。
Hmm? That lieutenant student bowed her head deeply to Remy, and she sped way back to her seat. Looks like she was running away or something.
なんだかよくわかんないんだけど、タク、その絆創膏もらってあげるべきだと思う。
Hmm? Why aren't you giving it to me?
梢ちゃん無口だよな。
Then Misumi couldn't come back.
転校初日に俺が校内を案内したんだけどよ。
うわぁ、早くも手出したんだ。
まだ出してねえっつうの。んで、まあ1時間ぐらいかけてあちこち回ったんだけど、もう俺一人で延々と喋り続けたよ。あん時はさすがにちーっと疲れたぜ。しかもすぐ泣きべそかく。
そうそう、今も急に泣き出したから何が起きたかと思ってあたふたしちゃった。
そんだけピュアなんだよ。なあタク、お前ならわかるだろ。梢ちゃんの仕草一つ一つの可愛さってのがよ。お前流に言うなら萌えってやつだ。
Just moe as hell.
なんだ、クソでも我慢してんのか？
You take a shit?
なんだ、クソでも我慢してんのか？
So
お前流に言うなら。
タク、さっきからちっとも喋ってくれないんだ。
That's because you're here. I wasn't ready for that. I never talked to a friend who was a girl all friendly before. I think I never even had a single female friend before. I thought of my entire life.
でもさ、今折原さんと話してみてなんとなく思ったんだけど、彼女と話してるとなんだか疲れちゃいそうかもなんて。
女子ってのはマジで同性に対して容赦ねえな。ま、梢ちゃんは俺が守るからいいけどな。
ほんの数十秒前に大地に相手するの疲れたって言ってなかった？
うっせ。梢ちゃんはタクと同じ匂いがするぜ。ほっとけねえって感じ？
それはわかるかも。
What? Abrupt ending? Bill told me that all the classes were done for the day. The second it went off, I packed up my things, got up from my desk, and left the classroom. I couldn't stand the subtle distance I felt between me and Remy for a second longer, so I wanted to get out of the classroom ASAP. Besides, I also had to stop by Manga Darake today. And I hadn't been able to say a single word to Remy. Several chances to talk to her, but just like this morning, I kept my mouth locked shut the entire time. I had screwed up by doing that. Make it even more difficult to talk to her next time I saw her. Sinking deeper and deeper into the thick swamp, trying to figure out how the hell to act out on Remy.
あ、お兄！
As I was about to leave the school building, I was hit with the voice of a certain irritating person. Nami came right up to me holding a trash can in her hands. Must have been in the middle of taking it out. Fortunately for me, the bitch spotted me. Tried to ignore her and speed way out of there, but just like usual, Nami refused to let that happen. Having my uniform was pulled tightly from behind.
妹見て逃げるなって何度言えばわかるの？
なんだよ。
なんだよじゃないよ。お兄が逃げるからナナもつい追いかけちゃうんじゃん。
Okay, then don't chase after me if you don't need anything.
相変わらず家に電話かけてこないし、まあナナはもう諦めたけど、どうせお兄が真面目に連絡入れてくるとは思えないもんね。
Oh, she actually understood me for once. Again, I don't know how she wouldn't be my sister and all. Even though I had no need in the slightest for a 3D one.
というわけで これからも定期的にナナがお兄の部屋に様子見に行くから。感謝してよね。
Damn it. Let's come to this. Well, I could be somehow freed from the curse of my obnoxious little sister. Well, even though it never happened. Hell, even though it never happened, at least deserve some sort of compensation for putting up with her. Thought about that kind of thing daily. Well, that was it. This is my chance to put my plan from earlier into action. I was lucky. Might even work as a modest form of revenge. Check my surroundings. I started walking towards the courtyard, signaling for Nanami to follow me.
何？
ちょっと来てくれ。
What am I doing?
なんで？なんかあるの？
Follow me into the bushes. She was so unbelievably annoying. Is she capable of following me or something? I'm a fucking idiot.
ナナミに大事な頼みがある。
What?
頼み？お兄が？なのに？
Nanami's eyes went wide.
珍しいじゃん。お兄が頼み事なんて。
とにかく黙ってついてこいって。
あ、ちょっと待ってよ。
Weren't too many people in the courtyard. During lunchtime, the place was always crowded with students eating lunch. The people who would bother coming here after school were the gardening club or whatever.
で、頼みって？
Nami lowered the trash can she was carrying to the ground and gave a big grin as she puffed out her chest.
条件はマクで汚りね。その条件飲んでくれるんなら、
Oh, not make
本当
these
は嫌だ
again.
けど、お兄の頼み聞いてあげる。
Goddamn thing, she did piss me off. So she actually wanted me to pay her back for this. Not that I'd already treated her to McD before, too. Forget it.
わかった。おごる。
え、本当？今日のお兄、いつもと違うね。
Well, yes, because I was lying. Saw us for being such a liar. That, I handed Nanami my cell phone. And asked her to call the prank caller whose number was stored in the call history.
着歴の番号にかける？相手は誰？
ネットの知り合い。
Oh, no, from online. Yeah, that's it. Ticket. Yeah, with a suspicious expression on her face, like we told a lie that seemed plausible to her.
どうしてナナがかけるの？
かければわかる。
I don't know once you hear their voice.
なんか企んでない？
Look at the crayon Shinchan face. Oh my god, shut the fuck up. All I have to do is just shut the up and do what I say. Can't even do that, then just go home. I have no use for you.
じゃあもうお前には頼まない。
I snatched back the sofa, but Nami pulled her hand back, evading me.
あ、わかったって。かけるよ。かければいいんでしょ？ほんと。
It may be a serial killer, that's all. What's the problem here? Jeez. I'll have your number instead of mine. Well, they already have mine. I'll have yours too. Yeah, you should talk. Looking up my anger, I watched with bated breath as Nami dialed the number in question. Nami was still unaware, put the cell phone to her ear and waited for them to answer. Noticed that on the hand she was holding the cell phone with was wearing a yellow bangle. That's what I'd given her, wasn't it? And again, it was more something like something she decided appropriate rather than me actually giving it to her. She even wore it when she went to school. Did she really like it that much? And it was just some cheap-ass bangle I got for free. I really didn't have no taste at all. Nor that I could really speak for anyone else, though. This didn't matter at all right now. Anyway, who's gonna answer the phone? Would it be some scary Dokun piece of garbage? This guy's scenario would be just a prank and had nothing to do with the Shogun or Yua.
あ、もしもし？
Once it picked up, as Nami called out, she covered the receiver with her hand. Only would raise her eyebrows soon after, she then thrust the phone back in my direction.
お兄。
なんだ。
なんだじゃないよ。現在使われてませんって言ってるよ。
Not in use.
え？
Snatched the phone in front of Nami and put it to my ear, and all I heard was
おかけになった電話番号は現在使われておりません。
disconnected. Oh no.
番号をご確認の上、もう一度おかけ直しください。
Right. But it really had been a prank, huh? prank where you called a bunch of random numbers simultaneously over a couple days. The prank is over, both the number and the phone were destroyed, or something like that. Either way, it was a pretty large-scale prank. Meh, didn't matter to me either way. I knew now that the mysterious call had been nothing more than a prank, and nothing else mattered anymore.
ねえ一体何なの？
もうお前用なし。
I'm done with you. Leave. Leaving and Nami standing there, I started to walk off. It didn't take long for her to chase after me.
どういうことか説明してよ。
Shut up already.
お前掃除中だろ。ゴミ箱置きっぱなしだぞ。
でも説明聞いてないもん。
僕は帰る。
Without dealing with Nami, I walked quickly to the school gate to the right of my tail. Oops.
おに、じゃあマクディおごる約束だからね。ちゃんと覚えといてよ。
知るか。
ちょっと嘘ついたの？
まあな。
Nami started stopped dead in her track, looking pretty upset. Kept right on moving.
お兄のバカ！
Yelled out in a voice loud enough to echo throughout the entire area. Right up there, I went to turn around and saw her glaring at me with her hands on her hips.
お兄なんて携帯の電磁波の影響で脳みそスカスカにされて死んじゃえ！
Cell phone radiation. Thanks to Nami screeching, more eyes are looking our way. Even though I made it a point to stand out as little as possible at school. Sister was the most obnoxious shithead of all time. Giving a damn button to Nami and said, I ran towards the school gate. It's best to retreat in times like this. Nami's voice could still be heard even after I passed through the school gate, making me feel completely and utterly drained. Zuma Matasema was one of my favorite artists. They were ultra famous, and their fans would always form long lines at every one of their events. The new Blood Tune Dojinshi Matasema had sold out in no time flat. I wanted to go too, but all the events where it was being sold out had been way too crowded to the point where it would have been too much for me. Because of that, I found myself tearfully giving up. It been naive of me to think that Manga Darake would be safe just because it had consignment sales. There had indeed been some consignment sales, but they had been annihilated in practically an instant. Various online occasions, or auctions, the premium price was set at tens of thousands of yen, and all scalpers should die in a fire. Regardless of all that in mind, I thought it was probably impossible to get my hands on it. However, yesterday while I've been surfing that channel, I so happened to see that a new issue had been recently restocked at Manga Darake. That's why I headed for it immediately.
神様、奇跡を起こしとまえ。
I prayed to the heavens in front of the store, and I stormed inside. I scanned the Dojinshi section with my eyes as wide as dinner plates. Went back and forth down the aisles, searching over and over again to make sure I miss anything. But couldn't find it. No, was it already sold out? I casually observed the cashier. It was a girl. She wasn't very cute, but she did seem friendly. Never even once used the hyper-advanced technique known as asking the clerk about whether or not they had the certain item in stock. The reason was, of course, they didn't have the courage to do so. Not only that, but the title of Azuma Matasema's book was Seiratan Cosplayer Gone Wild, so asking about it was completely and utterly impossible. Excuse me, miss, but do you have a copy of Azuma Matasema's Seiratan Cosplayer Gone Wild? If I asked a female clerk something like that, I'd not be labeled as a pervert. And that for a fact, thank you very much. In the end, I simply gave up on asking the clerk anything and exited the store dejectedly.
帰るか。
Maybe I should go to Ad Cafe. Flipping between the two as I walked, the sword I'd seen before flashed past the edge of my vision. A sword with a distinctive two-pronged blade. Girl B, the girl that called herself Senna, had been carrying around the city. The crowded center guy, the tip of the sword jutted above the heads of the people walking down the street. Got closer to me, I hurriedly took refuge in a nearby arcade. I peered out from the shadows, taking long for Senna herself to appear, the sword resting on her shoulder. In an expression that was just as terrifying as ever, walked quickly towards the station. didn't have noticed me. Even then, I even experienced the humiliation play that was lugging around a sword just like hers. The bold way that Senna walked around without a care in the world impressed me. Was she not embarrassed to hold such a huge sword like that? I mean, she had to be considered having been questioned by a police officer at least once. No way she hadn't. Pondered that. Senna's figure got farther and farther away. Did they sell badass D-swords like the one she has, I wondered. When I had gotten a hold, it didn't glow and wouldn't have a badass shape. So I wasn't exactly satisfied with it. In comparison to the sword Senna was carrying, I was far less impressive in terms of design. The entire reason behind me getting a D-sword was to use it as a protective charm. Back at the Scramble Crossing, I was trembling in fear and wished for something I could rely on. After Remy had shown up, it became slightly more stable, but the situation around me was not getting any better. So a lot of enemies, such as Shogun, Yua, etc. That was the reason why I wanted to get my hands on a D-sword that looked way stronger than the one I actually had. Which was also the collector spirit, found in every otaku. I was drawn to Senna's sword. I've been staggering over towards Scramble Crossing without realizing it. Oh god, I bit my lip. I didn't want to be out in front of the station. I reluctantly go to the center guy or school, whatever, because I had things I had to do there. But if I could help it, I prefer not going anywhere near them. And kind of told the strangers standing around me made me feel as if any escape might have been stolen away. Just the illusion of that made it hard to breathe. Unsurprisingly, the area in front of the station was infested with people. I started to feel more and more sick. I opted to look down at the ground, trying to hold back the nausea a bit. Because of that, the next time I looked up, I realized I had lost sight of this conspicuous sword. I should have been walking towards Hachiko's statue with it, but right then, the light above Scramble Crossing turned green. See, people rushed into the intersection from various directions. It became pretty chaotic. A whole host of people walking every which way. Did it even without so much as bumping into each other. I saw something like that. I realized how unrealistic empty Scramble Crossing had been with my delusion the other way really was. Probably wasn't even a single second in the entire year where there wasn't no people in this place. What was I even trying to accomplish by chasing after Senna in the first place? I hadn't even been able to ask the friendly Manga Darake employee whether they'd had something in stock, so how exactly was I supposed to talk to someone who looked unfriendly and scary looking like Senna? Besides, she might have been my enemy. You know what she'd do to me if I carelessly followed around without any form of protection. What was wrong with me? I should just go home. Finally decided on that, but right when I was about to turn around, I noticed a white chain lying down in the street. Couldn't see the end of it because it was concealed by the legs of various pedestrians, but it seemed to be stretching from where I was standing all the way to the other side of the Scramble Crossing. What the hell? Ridiculously long chain. Was it construction for something? Or was it for construction or something? There's no evidence of construction going on anywhere. Couldn't believe they left a chain lying around like this. Was this location the shooting net for some movie or TV show? No, they wouldn't be filming at a time as crowded as this. Okay, then did someone throw it away? A chain this long? Or it'd be hard enough just to bring it far out here. Regardless, it was definitely going to get in the way of people in cars. I was on my head in confusion. I examined my surroundings to see how people were reacting to it. I thought it'd be dangerous if someone caught the leg on it, but not a single person paid any attention to it. I rubbed my eyes and tried looking at it one more time, thinking it might be an optical illusion or something. But the chain was still there. I didn't have the courage to touch it. No, it creeped me out too much. It wasn't a cheap-looking plastic one. It was an extremely sturdy-looking iron chain. How long had this been left sitting here? Under normal circumstances, it was some kind of trap. For which, I would run away in fear, suspecting that something terrifying had been waiting for me. But now, for whatever reason, I couldn't help but wonder where the chain led. Mine was overtaken by a compulsive obsession that told me I had to follow this chain. Across the Scramble Crossing before the light turned red, bumping into several pedestrians as I did. At the end of the continuous chain was an old dark green train car that was sitting next to the Hachiko statue. The wheels had been removed, so it was closer to a monument or an exhibit rather than a functional train car. You were supposed to be able to enter it freely, too. The white chain was extending from the open door to the inside of the train. Tons of people parked in front of the hut in Hachiko, but no one was paying attention to the chain. Didn't show any signs they were even aware of it. As well as that, there were no signs of any people on the train at all. A gulp, I peered inside the train car. No, what? It's attached to her? That moment I realized it was a trap. I couldn't believe it myself, which was why I hadn't suspected it all before. The car appeared to be empty, but there was the figure of a single person inside. It was Sena Aoi, sitting cross-legged on the burgundy train seat. Her sharp gaze was firmly fixed on me. For some reason, she was holding a light blue popsicle in her hand. That was a Crunchy-kun, right? Forget it. I couldn't care less about the Crunchy-kuns right now. More importantly, the gigantic D-sword she had been carrying was mysteriously nowhere to be found. I wondered where she managed to put that thing, how huge it was and all. What? These delusions. The place of the sword was a white chain, coiling around one of her legs. Which reminded me, back when I found her in the center guy, she had something about finding her in a train car in front of the station. This has been what she meant. She the one to put this chain here? She really been lugging around such a long chain? It looked like it weighed over 10 kilograms. Not only that, it had been like 50 meters long. I had no idea what was up with this girl. She was entirely unknown to me. It wasn't normal. Could she be Shogun? Feeling scared now, I moved to run away without saying anything. Her sharp voice to strike me right then.
入れ。
I automatically stopped dead in my tracks. Thoughts ran through my head frantically. Is everything wavery? It's not waving. This is a delusion? I ran away, what'd she do? Did she swing her D-sword at me while she chased me? When I tried to envision it happening, it freaked me out way too much, so I hurriedly shook the delusion out of my head. Conversely, what if I were just to walk straight instead? Straight in instead, would she get a much better impression of me? Maybe that she wouldn't be so violent. Maybe she'd even be in a good enough mood that she'd be interested in selling her D-sword to me. I didn't think she'd give it up that easily, but maybe I could at least get her to tell me where she bought it from. On top of that, she seemed to have been waiting for me. In other words, that meant she'd taken some form of interest in me. It looked scary, as often was the case with tsundere types. She might have actually been pretty nice in reality. That could just be wishful thinking, though. And again, it wasn't like this was going to get cold just because I went inside. Sure, that was true. We're right in the middle of Shibuya, after all. Right in front of the Hachiko statue. There were tons of people running or surrounding us. Killing me in public in front of all these them would have been suicide. I took a single deep breath, gathered my resolve, and then I stepped onto the train. Suddenly realized the bundle of chains I'd been at Senna's feet just a moment ago had disappeared without a trace. I thought she'd moved it somewhere, but there had been no sound to indicate that. She was still sitting on the same seat she'd been sitting on the entire time. Even if she had moved it, where the hell had she moved it to? I didn't see it anywhere on the train.
エラーはどこにあった？
What? Saying that completely unconcerned with how lost I was. This is something unintelligible yet again.
だから私をつけてきたんじゃないのか？
The hell? I shook my head left to right in confusion. Wait a minute, what was the last thing she said? Oh, you tailed me, okay. Shook my head left and right. Confusion said his expression became increasingly stern. She then eventually looked away from me, let out a small sigh, then took a bite of her popsicle. Freed from her sharp gaze, I nearly sank down to the floor once again. Talk about looks like a kill. I sat down on the seat if I could have, but when I realized that she might have said something to me if I did, I couldn't bring myself to.
お前が私をつけてきているのには気づいていた。
Whoops.
私が作ったエラーが見えていただろう。
Error. The sword?
だからエラーって何？
Errorって何?
鎖だ。白い鎖。
Chains this the error? Just meant then, yeah, I'd seen that. I followed the weird thing all the way here after all.
でもどこにもない。消えたよ。
消した。
What?
私の妄想だからな。
It's her delusion. What is going on? Delusion? What are you talking about?
じゃあ剣は？
Where's the sword? Kenwa.
お前も持っているだろう。
It's not on me. Excuse me? No, I don't have one. How could I? Wasn't going well. I could barely get a word out.
それより、お前は何者なんだ？見えているみたいだけど。
I can see.
は？
What? Senna glanced at me, then jerked her chin toward the window.
この窓の外に何が見える？
People. Lots of people. I feel like there are even more people than before. Like I was gonna get a headache just from looking at them. There are people with their heads glued to their cell phones, people smiling over phone calls, people standing and staring at the stream of people. Actually, everything I saw at the window was people standing waiting for other people. I mean, if there were so many people out here, why hadn't anyone come into the train since I'd gotten on?
完璧な世界がそこにあると思うか？
What?
あるはずがない。エラーは確かに存在する。すべてのものは人も含めて電気仕掛けだからな。
People are electronic devices? What was going on? What kind of chuny plotline was that? Jokes aside, I thought about similar things pretty often. I wasn't trying to say that chuny plotlines were bad or anything. After all, the world was overflowing with books, movies, and anime that were nothing but chuny insanity. Why was it that a writer of a movie director or whoever else could come up with chuny plotlines like that and it was all well and good, but when amateurs like me did it, everybody made fun of us? World's greats have been all chunibiyos. Just think about it. Wright brothers had genuinely thought that they could fly through the sky 100 years ago. Napoleon had boasted that with the world impossible is not in my dictionary. And that's why chunibiyos weren't something to be mocked. It was a path that all the world's greats had taken. But my question was, why this girl suddenly started spouting all this chuny shit at me?
何を見ているかじゃない。何を見せられているかだ。人は体の外からの情報を五感によって得ているけど、その受け取る情報のおよそ 80% は視覚から入ってくるんだ。
80% is sight.
そして視覚から得られた映像はパルス信号となって視神経を通り、脳に送られる。
It's like a telephone, I thought to myself. The phone converted your voice to electrical signals, then sent the information to a distant location.
電話か。似ていると言えなくもない。
Read my mind. You just read my mind? Yes, I read your mind. Now you're thinking, could she just read my mind? No, there was no way. Am I bumping myself without realizing it again?
VR 技術を知っているか？
What? Virtual reality? Of course, I didn't actually have an answer aloud.
ビジュアルリビルディング。
Visual rebuilding? Oh no. Huh? I was wrong. Never heard of that.
アメリカの精神生理学分野で研究が行われている技術だ。
Psychophysiology in America.
生まれながらに目が不自由な人でも目の前にある景色がちゃんと見えるようになる。ビデオカメラのような映像機器を介してな。
Just read my mind because that'd be yes. What? You know, anything if they're blind can they use video cameras?
どうやってという顔をしているな。だが仕組みとしては単純な話だ。
It's real simple.
ビデオカメラが映した映像も脳を流れる神経パルス、どちらも突き詰めれば電気による信号なんだぞ。
I don't like this game more.
要は神経パルスにコンバートできる技術さえあればいい。すでに実際にテストは成功している。ある研究チームが特許を取得済みだ。
It's patented? Seriously? I thought it was just fairly hardcore delusion with an impressive amount of depth and detail behind it. Claiming the full-on patent was taken it way too far.
その特許から読み取れることがある。
Senna, who'd been looking out the window the whole time, turned to face me. She slowly crossed her legs.
ある意図的な情報を神経パルスへコンバートすることが可能なら、人の五感すべて、さらには人の意志そのものもコントロールできるんじゃないか。
Whoops. It's too powerful. It had other uses. Even though it was right in front of Shibuya Station, it was strangely quiet on the train. Felt as if it had been deprived of sound itself. It's obviously an illusion, but I can't help but remember the delusion I had several days ago of the deserted Shibuya. Thought about it. I take my eyes off the crowd moving outside the window.
さっき言ったように、人は電気仕掛けだ。脳だけじゃなく、全身に張り巡らされている神経にも電気が通っている。
Alright.
つまり、肉体的な動きまでも操れるということになるんだ。理論的にはな。
This girl was taken aback. This girl was even more delusional than both me and Yua combined. She's saying it sounded logical, but it's clearly a total pipe dream.
事実、特許を取得した研究チームもその方向へと研究内容をシフトしている。あまりに危険すぎる内容だったから、アメリカ大統領が歯止めをかけようとして行政命令を出したくらいだ。
Too much. Much of what she was saying was actually true.
いかなる機関であろうと、政府との事前合意なしに人体の機密の研究を行うことを禁じる。それを支援することも同様である。とな。
Down with her class friends, resting her knees lightly or tightly. Oops. Common rule, some U.S. policy.
だが世の中は腐った連中ばかりだ。倫理を無視して自分の利益のためだけに他者を平気で犠牲にするような連中がな。ヘドが出る。
Reflexively started to shrink back, but run into a wall behind me. Wait, supposed to rethink before that. Oh, she ate the last bit of crunchy coup and then stood up.
倫理を無視して自分の無知は罪だ。知らない方が幸せなこともあるという人間もいるが、そんなのはただの甘えだ。世界を疑え、仕組みを知れ。この世界は完璧じゃない。
It's coming towards me. Thinking she might hit me, I tried to shield my face with my arm, but in the end she slipped right past me without doing anything.
お前の見ている景色は本物か。
Looking at me, she murmured that as we passed each other, and then promptly exited the train by herself. She stood out the window as Senna walked by. Without looking back at me even once, she quickly disappeared into the sea of people. In the end, I had absolutely no clue as to what she'd been trying to tell me. The thing I took from it was that Senna despised the world. Typical Chunibyo. From my point of view, though, it sucked ass to have her shoot her poisonous Denpa bullshit at me without even letting me get a word in. Tone of voice alone made me feel like I was being lectured. The way she talked was often a Moai characteristic when it came to 2D. In reality, unless her to make her feel more like a total Dokyun. But the fact that she hadn't attacked me was a relief. Surprised considering that, for some reason, she always gave off the aura that she was just raring to slap anyone and everyone. I wanted to take a breather after that, so I sat down in the seat where Senna had been sitting before. Immediately following that, a Dokyun-looking couple suddenly came into the car. I found a trio that were obviously Dokyun Kogyarus, an older middle-aged man and a young businesswoman wearing a suit. Is that Gyarus? Gyarus. Kogyarus. Train car had become claustrophobic in the blink of an eye. Before Senna had left, no one even tried to enter the car, so where the hell did all they come from? Voices of the Dokyun couple, the Kogyarus, were way too loud. I quickly got out of there while telling them all to go to hell in my head. Yeah, it's like I end up with this IRL Chuni chick. Okay, let's tell you, asshole. Tell me you pissed me off. Seriously, though, stop saying shit like, I don't give a fuck about 3D. Getting real close with a bunch of 3D girls, haven't you? One of them even broke into your house. It's alright, I've a Roge. 100 straight into once in a lifetime chance to be popular. Isn't well. And I've amassed quite the number of opportunities to speak with cute females. However, one of them is a mental case. Trying to be on the receiving end of their brain melting Denpa attacks. Sheer scare of schizo is horrifying. I'm truly sorry. Worry about it. Worry about it. Even though I haven't got back home, I'm interested in somewhat interested in what Senna told me. Of course, I didn't think that what she said was true. I was pretty sure that I was able to confirm it for myself. I did a little bit of research into the patent and the memorandum specifically. So with Grimm's help, I started searching the internet. I was able to get one of Grimm's friends who lived in America to help out as well. But even with all that help, I still didn't think we were going to find anything. In this day and age, you couldn't trust anyone without a source. Message from Shiho. That was a friend Grimm messaged earlier. He lived in America and spoke fluent English. Let me guess, BS, right? Like a mental case. Thought it just made fun of me just because I couldn't understand English. Understand the power of the internet. Get yourself pwned. Exists apparently.
Eh?
Huh? No. It exists? What did? I went way out of his way to tell 4 US. Let me up it. More bait. Trust me. You don't trust me, I'll do you.
もしかして、
I will be an ass most of the time.
マジなのか
I invite Shiho instead. Been tricked by Grimm several times in the past. Just like this I usually did, he hit me with something so bad it made my brain short circuit. He was saying that he was going to invite Shiho. And even source for us. This is you baiting me again, I'll kick you out of the guild. Trust me this once, you being confident. I have to trust him
く
now.
そ僕はなんてお人よしなんだ
Slightly nervous, I squinted my eyes halfway to protect myself from seeing anything quickly or too clearly, then I clicked the link.
なんだこれ
Brain imaging technology. It's a document written in English with a bunch of strange diagrams in the lower half. Part of it looked like a human face. Headline read United States patent. Knew that much at least. In other words, this was...
アメリカの特許
Oh boy.
VR 技術を知っているか？すでに実際にテストは成功している。あ
Visual
る研究
rebuilding.
チームが特許を取得済みだ。
It was real. I went to open one of the 2 text files that come bundled with it. One of them had a series of news articles that seemed to mention the patent, all of which were translated into Japanese. It said the Psychophysiology Research Laboratory of America's Victor Condrea University was currently researching a groundbreaking invention known as VR, visual rebuilding. As the goal of the research was primarily for healthcare, been gaining the attention of visually impaired people from all around the world. It was groundbreaking technology that enabled people who are blind from birth to see the scenery in front of them through video cameras and other imaging devices. But simply, this is done by converting signals, the ones that compose of image data that came from the video cameras, into the only signal the brain could recognize, the actual signals known as nerve impulses. They are then transported to the brain via the optic nerve. There had already been successful tests, and the patent had already been registered.
特許本当に認められてる
It's real. We're gonna put chips in your brain. It's real. It's already happening. So does that mean that that's a sentence that wasn't just some Trini delusion? I went to open the other text file. I began reading. Presidential documents, memoranda of March 27, 1997. Strength and protection for human subjects of classified research. Agency shall propose to prohibit a waiver of informed consent for classified research, part of it said. In 1 year after the date of this memorandum, no agency will conduct or support classified human research without having proposed or promulgated the common rule. Promulgated, what the hell is that word? The document was then signed at the bottom by William J. Clinton. What the hell? Closed the White House, March 27, 1997. Memorandum from the President of the United States? And it sounded like the premise to a movie or something, so I would never thought it was actually real. I went to check the original document via the URL. Even I could read English for the most part, despite how it looked. A lot smarter than a lot of those dope kids who went to school every day. Actual contents written in the document were the same as the translated text.
ということは
Which means, that's a word I put in the back of my mind.
ある意図的な情報を神経パルスへコンバートすることが可能なら、人の五感すべて、さらには人の意志そのものもコントロール
Oh
で
my
きるんじゃ
god,
ない
they're controlling us. Starting to get somewhat difficult to understand at this point, but with Senna told me combined with the sources we'd found online that backed her up, wasn't chills down my spine. I feel that something terrible was lurking within. What confused me at the most was what Senna's true intentions were in telling me all this. Did it have anything to do with me? The part about being able to control people's free will definitely wasn't something I could dismiss as someone else's problem, as there was the possibility that I was a sleepwalker. On the day of the third New Gen incident, the crucifixion, I had been told that I'd been posted into the chat room as Shogun. Apparently I had posted from the Cafe too, but I had no memory of any of it. And not only that, I had absolutely no memory of Remy too. We've been classmates for over a year. We've been close enough to hang out on multiple occasions, yet I don't remember of any of it. Maybe I'd done all those things while I was being manipulated by some other being. Besides, I was terrible at talking to 3D girls to begin with. There's no ways I would be close to a cute girl like Remy normally. Thinking too hard about this. At the very least, I knew that the chat thing was one of Yua's delusions. Shogun was a separate entity from me. He was trying to entrap me and didn't go beyond that. That's true regardless of whether or not he'd actually been the old man in the wheelchair that appeared in front of 107. Maybe Senna too was one of Shogun's underlings. Maybe she was just trying to deceive me. Don't just blindly accept everything without questioning it. Don't trust a suspicious girl you don't actually know. Senna and you are born of the same breed, or both of the same breed. That's how it should go, right, Seira-tan? Oh. What's going on? Then present in the room was a distinct clacking of a keyboard. Yua Tsunoki's thin, supple fingers moved as if they were dancing, her gaze fixed on the monitor all the while. French typing was effortless. Made like next to no typos. Write an email. Right along with that, we'd already been writing for almost half an hour, endlessly deliberated over the contents of the email, making frequent revisions as she continued to type. Suddenly her fingers stopped moving. Small pain sigh, she abruptly pressed and held down the backspace key. French that was lit up on the monitor began scrolling leftwards and at high speed. All the long sentences she had written so far disappeared instantaneously as the cursor traveled across the screen. She deleted, delete. When all the contents had been erased, she took hold of the Gero Froggy stuffed animal lying on her bed and hugged it tightly to her chest. It's a habit that you had developed recently. If she hadn't hugged something in this way, she would be faced with unbearable anxiety. Bringing her chin to the stuffed animal, Yua sighed once again and shook her head softly.
私に勇気をください。
Uh-oh. Contact with someone. Murmuring softly to no one in particular, Yua's expression stiffened. Stuffed animal rested on her lap. She returned her hands to the keyboard. In the monitor, each letter she typed in a fluid manner was quickly displayed in sequence. Compared to when she had erased moments ago, this email was far more short and simple. Unless she provided the bare necessities of what she needed to convey. She's back. When she finished writing, Yua hesitated for a moment. Then she resolutely clicked on the send icon.
送っちゃった。
Before she could stop it from going through, the email had already been sent in the blink of an eye. Yua squeezed the Gero Froggy sitting on her lap tightly. She continued to stare at the monitor in front of her for over an hour. Although she had not been expecting one, there was no sign of a reply at all. Okay, we're going back to Takumi. Alright, we're at Takumi again. I'm going to stop the stream here for a second. This is just it's a strange game. Or I mean, for today, yeah. I'll come back to this again on Monday. Let me see here. I had kind of like a long morning, technically, so this is probably a good place to stop it. Wait, how do I get out of this? Oh, yeah. Yeah, no problem. I'll be back, well, of course, tomorrow for some more wrestling. We should have a Stardom stream to get to, a Stardom show to get to. I got to translate for tomorrow. And then I'll play more of this on Monday, 11 a.m. Pacific time. Definitely come back for that. Let's see. I can't tell how long this game is. Let me see. Done like 4 or 5 streams, like 2.5 to 3 hours. Man, I think it's only supposed to be like 20 to 30 hour long game. We'll see. It's a very weird plot that goes very slow, I gotta say, compared to the Steins game one that went kind of quicker. Anyways, I'll be back. Wait. Save it. There we go. This is D sword. I guess it's a little bit of foreshadowing. All right. Thanks for hanging around, everyone. Definitely come back tomorrow for some more Joshi wrestling and for some more of this, of course, on Monday at 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern time. Okay. Why is it so hard to get out of this game? There we go. All right. Let's find someone to raid. Thanks again for hanging out. And here's the credits. Are there anything? Nothing really happened, did it? Well, there it goes anyways. Let's see. There's a good Pete. watching some classic wrestling. There's a TNA. TNA is streaming some kind of TNA marathon. I haven't seen them stream for a while. Never been able to actually raid them. We should raid them. That'd be kind of funny. There's also Leva Bates playing Spider-Man. Who can we raid here? There's Oli streaming. Let's raid Oli. Looks like he's streaming Joshi. Wait. Should have checked that before I typed the raid thing in. Is he actually there? He's watching Summer Sun Princess or something. Alright, nice. Perfect. Sure to give him a follow. He's definitely one of our regulars in our stream, of course. And everybody have a good night. Have a good weekend. I'll see you again soon. Say hello, say goodbye.
They're having a rematch on Friday. These two teams, Daydream and Kyo. I know Yuki Arai is now the current champion. Last year she was competing for it. I think she won the Princess Cup also.